You're talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, woo, wheeling dealing, limousine riding, jet flying, son of a gun, and I'm having a hard time holding these alligators down. Woo!
You are watching the leaders in full immersion gaming, and this is the pregame show only on the NBL Network.
Playoffs winding down here on the NBL Network. We got doubleheader action once again. Our Super Bowl will be set tonight with the AFC and NFC Championships games right here on twitch.tv/NBL Network. Now, before we get there, we got to have a little pregame show, and our pregame show is always brought to you by web3ks.com. We talk about them all the time here. If you've watched all of our doubleheaders, you've heard this ad over and over, but web3ks.com, they are the leaders in affordable graphic design. If you or anyone you know needs graphics done for affordable price, hit them up. Web3ks.com, the leaders in affordable graphic design. Thanks for hanging out with us, folks. I'm OSU. I'm hanging out with my man, the co-commish, Lip Blip. Doubleheader action. AFC Championship first. Chargers undefeated, taking on the Cleveland Browns. On the flip side, on the NFC side, we'll have the New York Giants taking on the Detroit Lions. Lip, you've been in this position before, and before we look at some players to watch, you've been in this position before. An undefeated team going into the AFC Championship. You know you've got 2 games left to complete something that has never been done before in the NBL. Is this where the pressure ramps up, that knowledge of the undefeated season really starts to get to you?
Yeah, you try to ignore it. You try to just believe in what you do, but it's always hanging somewhere in the back of your mind. But the Chargers are a very good football team, and they play so smart, and they have never tried to get out of what they are able to do. And that's what's been so great about them. They play great defense, and they run the ball well. And that's those are the 2 things that we talk about teams. If you want to win, do those things. And the Chargers do those things all the time. Every game they play, literally every game this season, they run the ball and play great defense. And if they just stick to that, do not get outside of that comfort zone, they're going to go to the Super Bowl, and they have quite the roster to do it.
Yeah, if there's one flaw of this Chargers team, I think it's just a little bit the coaching staff. I think they take Melvin Gordon for granted at times, because we've seen in a couple games here on NBL Live, it's a lot of Carson Wentz early, Melvin Gordon late. And if they stick to that pattern, while on one hand you're sticking to what had gotten you here, the Cleveland Browns defense is aggressive, and they're going to get after Carson Wentz, and if there are early turnovers, watch out. Before we get talking about the game in more detail and look at those players to watch, how excited are we for this? The Madden Bomber League Super Bowl for Season 29, tomorrow night, Saturday, February 24th, 8:50 Eastern Time is going to be our start time for the pregame show. 9:15 Eastern will be the kickoff for the game. Big shout out to the guys over at EA Sports. They'll be hosting us on the EA Madden NFL Twitch channel. Big shout out to John White and Krello who helped put this together, and all the guys over at EA who help support the Madden Bomber League. 8:50 pregame show, 9:15 Eastern Time is kickoff. This is one of our biggest shows, not just because of the Super Bowl, but we go through a lot. We have a lot of awards to give out. The pregame show is usually really big and has a lot of information. NBL Live is a production in its own, as Super Bowl ramps everything up. And if you haven't caught one, you got to check it out tomorrow night.
Yeah, it really is a great show, because you really get to see a really good look into our small community. We have those awards. We have the game itself. And a lot of the time the game is great, but also seeing the entire production, even though it happens throughout the season on every NBL Live, it really is a great experience. And we are so grateful for this opportunity. And we are really excited to show what we have to offer. And it's because of a lot of hard work from so many guys in our league, from the top to the bottom, everybody putting in work, doing their part, that we're able to be here. And that is just, it just shows how great NBL and each owner in our community is.
Yeah, and it's been absolutely fantastic to see the response we've gotten on Twitter from a lot of the other guys in the
Absolutely.
CFL. That's been blown me away. So many people are very excited about tomorrow night. So tomorrow night, 8:50 pregame show, 9:15 kickoff. It'll be right here, twitch.tv/MBL Network, hosted on the EA Madden NFL Twitch channel. So you can tune in either place. Doesn't matter to us. We just want to make sure you're here because it's going to be a great broadcast. And we'll find out who those two teams are after the game tonight. All right, first game we have on the docket today, kicking off in just a few minutes, is the AFC Championship game. Los Angeles Chargers undefeated, trying to keep the undefeated season alive and become the first NBL team to ever finish the season undefeated and Super Bowl champions. They're taking on the Cleveland Browns, the drinkers of leprechaun bloods themselves, the luckiest team in the NBL, who has found a way to get here due to, I don't know, I think they roll in fields of four-leaf clovers. It's unbelievable. But they got a lot of talent on that team as well. Let's look at the players to watch. We're going to focus on the defensive line. I mean, for the LA Chargers, when you think defensive line, you think Joey Bosa, and he's having another great season. 11 sacks, 12 tackles for loss, 31 tackles, and 2 forced fumbles. This guy is a monster on the defensive line. He's actually been healthy most of the year, which is something he hasn't been able to do. And the best part about Joey Bosa is he's usually matched up against the best outside tackle, and it doesn't seem to matter. It still seems like Joey Bosa is going to eat and is going to create havoc for the other team.
Yeah, and that's going to be extremely interesting for this matchup because the Browns like to run the ball, and I'll tell you that it is almost impossible to run to Bosa's side. And the Chargers being #1 against the run, he's a big reason why. And whenever you look at this defense, they let up passing yards down the field, but once you get inside the red zone, when you can't run the ball, they're going to tighten up that pass defense, and it's been one of the best as the Chargers defense only allows 15 points a game. So they really have this perfect formula for playing defense in Los Angeles, and Joey Bosa is a massive part of it.
On the flip side, the Browns got a pretty good defensive end of their own. Young Myles Garrett, he's having an even better season. 17.5 sacks, 53 tackles, an additional 10 tackles for loss, the same 2 forced fumbles. Myles Garrett, I don't know why. Maybe it's Cleveland. Maybe it's because he's not a big, flashy name, but it seems like nobody really talks about this guy and how talented he really is and how well Z-Star has developed this player into a guy who, much like Joey Bosa, is just an absolute monster, and he does it both in the run game, sealing that edge, which will be key against Melvin Gordon, but also in getting to the quarterback. This LA offensive line, while very good, they're going to have their hands full today.
Yeah, Myles Garrett, whenever he came out of Texas A&M, people were really excited about his physical abilities, but the long-term ability to really develop his technique in the pass rush. I think the reason why he's kind of overlooked sometimes is because he's never really had that huge monster sack season. He's had 17 sacks, and then 2 years in between, 13, 12, and then 17 again this year. So you don't see the 20-plus sacks, but that consistency of double-digit sacks every year makes him such an important element to this defense, and that's probably why he gets overlooked. But you absolutely cannot overlook this guy if you're the Chargers tonight.
Well, we're about ready to send this bad boy out to the game. We got to get your prediction. We got to get the prediction of everyone in the chat. So post in the chat what you think is going to be the score of this first game, Chargers and Browns. I already see LT Gray 2311 saying I got the Browns with the Super Bowl berth. Lip, who do you like in this one? The Chargers, the pressure is mounting, keeping that undefeated season alive. They're 2 games away from making history, getting Gub's second Super Bowl title. The Browns, though, they want to play spoiler today. They want to be that one single blemish on the Chargers' record. Who do you like and why?
I don't want to go with the Chargers because they're the 16-0 team. That's not why I'm taking them. I'm taking them because they are incredible at making halftime adjustments. You talked about, you've seen them come out and they throw the ball out with Carson Wentz, and you kind of don't know why. They kind of ignore Melvin Gordon. But then at halftime, they always get it right, and they always dominate the second half. And Cleveland's going to come out, and Cleveland's going to do what they do. They're going to run the ball. They're going to pass the ball. But they're not going to do either so well that it's going to win the game for them. But whatever the Chargers decide to do at halftime, I think is going to be the difference. And that's making me pick the Chargers. They're going to go to the Super Bowl, and I think it's going to be a close one. But I think the Chargers are going to pull it out 28-20.
Should be a great game here, folks. Doubleheader action. NFC Championship following immediately afterwards here. NBL Live broadcast 187 here with the AFC Championship game. You're not going to want to miss any of this one. Coming up next, let's see if history is made in the AFC. We got a battle between two powerhouses looking to get to the Super Bowl. One spot will be filled. It's the Cleveland Browns and the Los Angeles Chargers. It's coming up right now here on NBL Live.
My name is Rex Dixon.
Craig Stein.
Clint from EA Sports.
You're watching NBL.
You're watching the NBL Network. And you're watching the NBLN Network.
Empty backfield for Atkins. He's been dropping back to pass here on 4th down. He's looking deep over the middle. He has a man. It's Brandon Cooks who catches and makes a man miss.
Oh, that's
Woodard is
touchdown.
dropping back. He's got open over the middle. It's
Wow. That big playmaker ability
at
as
him
he
go.
finds him again.
Into the end zone. Another touchdown. Let's fill one spot in the season 29 NBL Super Bowl with the AFC Championship game going down. It's the Cleveland Browns sitting there at 11-5, champions of the AFC North, taking on the undefeated 16-0 LA Chargers, champions of the AFC West. We appreciate each and every one of you tuning into NBL Live here at twitch.tv/NBL Network and over on YouTube, youtube.com/Madden Bomber League. If you're over on YouTube, come on over to Twitch and join us. That's where we got the chat. We'll be monitoring that chat throughout the game. Get your predictions in there, as we've already seen a couple predictions and a couple people going with the Browns. And this is a common thread we've seen with this Chargers team. Even though they may play great, even though they may have the only 2,000-yard rusher in the history of the Madden Bomber League, even though they may never have lost a game this season, it just seems like the belief in this team from the community is not that full-throated. Why do the Chargers sort of get overlooked?
I just think that people have seen what the Cleveland Browns have been able to do. They always seem to pull out the big play when they need it. And I think people are just gotten used to that, and they're ready for it tonight.
1st and 10, Browns going to start out on offense. Isaiah Crowell in the backfield. Jameis Winston's going to be throwing it on 1st down. Quick out route to the outside. It is complete to the 42-yard line. Great early route there from Jameis Winston. The Cleveland Browns have said one of the keys to this game is getting Jameis in a rhythm early.
Yeah, absolutely. Whenever he was in Tampa Bay, quarterback rating of about 60, middle of the road. And now over the last 2 years in Cleveland, over 100 QBR both seasons. Such a great development from this young quarterback.
1st and 10, it's Isaiah Crowell in the backfield. 2 wide receivers for Jameis Winston under center. And on 1st and 10, he's going to be throwing it once again. And he looks underneath, and it is complete. And a ball's out on the ground. Big hit by the Chargers. It's picked up by Brown. He's got some room on the outside. Jameis Winston trying to make a play. He's not going to get him. Touchdown, Chargers. The defense making a big play. And what a turn of events. The Cleveland Browns, 2 plays in, they get a touchdown for the wrong team. Chargers up early.
That is so unfortunate. Jameis Winston makes such a good read. He takes the short stuff. He takes what the defense gives him. But boy, he was not ready for that hit. As soon as he turned his head, it was lights out, and the Chargers defense is on fire, attacking already in this game.
And if there's one thing, Lip, I think everybody, no matter how much you believe in this Chargers team, if there's one thing everyone can agree on, it's getting down early to the Chargers is so dangerous because of how they can close out the game with Melvin Gordon.
Oh, yeah, that's absolutely the last thing that you want to do, is to be giving them free points like that, letting the ball go like that, because if they just ground and pound Melvin Gordon, they could put games away like no other.
The usually sure-handed Corey Coleman putting the ball on the ground. And one of their top receivers is Crowell, goes 2 yards right up the middle. Going to bring up a 2nd and 8. Winston has 2 throws. They were both good, but Corey Coleman putting the ball on the field, and at the end of the day, this Chargers defensive line gets talked about a lot as to how big and physical they are, but the secondary, they are a hard-hitting unit.
Yeah, and they're very tough to get behind. During the early parts of the game, they kind of play a different style. Like I said earlier, they get into the red zone, they really tighten up. They're not afraid to give you some space and make plays, though, between the 20s.
Another big hit on Corey Coleman. This time, he holds on to the ball, though. It's a first down for the Cleveland Browns. Winston starting out 3 for 3. Usually, Jameis Winston, a big part of the turnover problem for the Cleveland Browns, but early in this game, he's in a nice rhythm. 1st and 10, 2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers for Jameis Winston, and on first down, they're going to hand it off to Isaiah Crowell, trying to get something up the middle, but only going to get a yard on the play. This Browns team played without Isaiah Crowell for a good chunk of the season, with Duke Johnson coming in, filling in admirably, but this team runs just differently with the Crow in the backfield.
Yeah. The thing is, they use these two backs very well, but Crowell is such a different style runner. Remember 4 years ago, had over 1,700 yards, 18 touchdowns. They've kind of split it up due to the injury to Crowell, but they're still very two talented running backs.
Jameis Winston, dangerous throw, trying to fit it in a tight window to Josh Gordon, but great defense there by the LA Chargers. Now a 3rd and 9 for the Cleveland Browns, and they just want to get some points on the board. They're at the 50-yard line trying to get downfield, but they just want to keep this game as close as possible.
I like the Browns trying to go to Josh Gordon early. We've seen him make some huge plays, so maybe trying to get him involved in the game early on will be a really big contributor to their success.
Winston dropping back here on 3rd and 9, looking. He's got a lot of time. Had Gordon open, but nobody there. Winston's going to try to take off and get the first down, lowers the shoulder, and he does. Takes the hit, but gets 12 yards on the play. Watching this Browns team, we have seen a propensity for Winston to take off. At times, he takes his eyes off downfield, maybe locks in to one receiver a little too long, is forced to use his legs. He's very talented and can do that, but I think Browns coaches would like to see him find the open man a little easier.
Yeah, I think that he had that slot seam down the middle open early. He just waited too long, and by that time, those corners for the Chargers can close and make that a bad play. So I like the play there.
Don't like that play. Whatever that throw was, Jameis Winston, little miscommunication there, or short-armed it like a 5-year-old. Don't know what it was, but it was ugly. Cleveland playing without Zach DeManch, one of their top wide receivers, really the big red zone target. They've managed to win a couple playoff games. They've managed to win the playoff game, win a couple games at the end of the season without DeManch, but at the end of the day, losing a guy of that caliber, what does that do to the offensive game plan?
Well, it really throws off the timing. Then your number 2 shifts to your number 1. Your 3 is your 2. It really throws off the timing, and it's hard to get into that rhythm. You really hope that you have a couple games and some really good practices to build chemistry, but it's really tough when you lose a number 1.
Crowell, nice run. Oh, makes a man miss. Crowell's in the open field. The air truck fakes out the defense, and he goes 39 yards to the house. Great interior blocking. Great switch by Winston to hand the ball off, and Crowell did the rest. Touchdown, Browns. A huge play for the offense to tie this ball game up at 7.
That is incredibly dangerous because, like I said, this Chargers defense is so tough to run against, but Crowell saw the inside was all bottled up, brings it back to the outside, and then he powers through defenders, and then he has the speed to break away from them.
Yeah, powers through defenders, goes.
He ties the game up. That's just one of those elements that you can't recreate very easily, and what Isaiah Crowell brings to this team.
If you're a Chargers fan, you're feeling really good right now because this is the first time your offense has touched the ball, and it's a 7-7 ball game. Early fumble recovery, taken back for 6, got the Chargers on the board early, but the Browns responded nicely. I always say that drive right after you turn the ball over, especially after a turnover that turned into a touchdown, might be the most important drive in the game.
Yeah, because it messes with your confidence a little bit, so you need to have a good comeback drive immediately to just keep that confidence rolling because it's such a big game.
Nice throw over to the right side to Mike Williams with the catch. The 2 Williams, such a big part of this passing offense. Carson Wentz, a lot of chemistry with those 2 wide receivers, and what we've seen from the Chargers is a lot of passing early in the game, and they shut it down with Melvin Gordon. Let's see if they continue that. Melvin Gordon's going to get a touch here on the second play. Blocking is good outside. Spin move, can't get past the corner, though. He'll get 6 yards, though. It's weird to look at a guy like Melvin Gordon, 2,000 yards lip. He gets 6 yards on his first carry, and you're almost a little disappointed considering he's averaging 8 yards per carry.
Yeah, well, I think that whenever we saw him continue to go to the outside and that defender was coming down, we really expected him to make a move and get free. but the defender was actually able to just trip his legs up just enough to bring Gordon down. That's something that doesn't happen very often to this incredible running back.
And there's a mistake by the Cleveland defensive line. Emmanuel Ogbah jumping. And that's just going to give LA a free first down. And if there's a team you don't want to be giving yardage to, it's the LA Chargers because of how well they can get chunk yardage with Melvin Gordon. And then with Carson Wentz in the passing game, Wentz, positive touchdown-interception ratio. Maybe not the flashiest quarterback, maybe not having a great year, but he is certainly serviceable as Melvin Gordon. The only person holding Melvin Gordon up was his own blocker there, as he's able to get up to the 27-yard line, give him 12 yards, and another first down for the LA Chargers.
That's one thing about Melvin Gordon that you don't see from a lot of backs. There was actually a defensive tackle that broke off his block very early in that play. Melvin Gordon was able to recognize that basically before he had the ball and really use his athleticism to just get around that guy and then make a first down.
Yeah, real big insta-shed right in the middle of that line, and he was able to just see that and totally avoid the free defender. It's now 1st and 10 for the Charge. Ball on the 27-yard line. It's going to be Gordon once again over the right side, and look at Melvin Gordon go. Get to the 23-yard line. Give him 5 yards on the play. Bring up a 2nd and 5. Melvin Gordon just doing Melvin Gordon-like things, Lip. He gets chunk yardage. You rarely see this guy get stopped for a loss.
Yeah, it's tough right there. You saw that linebacker really wait and try to read that play. Was completely behind on it. When you play these Chargers, you have to attack the run first and really force Carson Wentz to make the right read. Because while he is a good quarterback and has decent numbers, he's not one of those great guys that's going to pick you apart. So you have to take away their strongest element, and that's Melvin Gordon. 2nd
and 5 for Carson Wentz. Lots of time. Great protection by this offensive line. But Wentz, after 7 seconds, you got to make a decision and do something. Danny Shelton eventually able to break off his block and bring down Wentz for the first sack of the day. They dropped 8 into coverage, only rushed 3. Carson Wentz got to recognize that, Lip. You got to either check it down or get out of the pocket because he sat there for a good 6-7 seconds, and eventually the Browns defense will get to you.
Yeah, I think he had some room to step up. He just had to pick a side, but he just stood there, and he's got the athleticism to get away from that defender and buy a little bit more time, and he just chose not to in that situation.
3rd and 15 for the LA Chargers. Watch the out route on the left side. Let's see if anybody matches up. It's Keenan Allen. He can't get past. It's a good zone call by the Browns. He'll dump this off underneath the Gordon. He'll make the catch, but go out of bounds at the 25-yard line. The LA will be forced to kick a field goal. Good job by the Cleveland Browns. That sack was huge, forcing LA into a field goal attempt.
It seems so often that the Chargers are able to at least get into field goal range, and many times that doesn't even start to happen until the second half after they make those adjustments. But already we're seeing just on that first drive that they were able to come away with points, and if they can do that throughout the whole game, that makes them twice as dangerous because in those first halves that they have struggled to just get points, they've still been deadly in the second half.
10-7 your scores. We're nearing the end of the first quarter. AFC Championship game. Again, folks, doubleheader action on the network tonight. Don't miss the NFC Championship game immediately following this one. 4 doubleheaders in 5 days. Boy, that has been a chore.
You tired, OSU?
No, I'm never tired. Throw on first down. It's complete to Josh Gordon to the 44-yard line. Lip, how big has Josh Gordon been for this team? Because this is a guy who was a #1 wide receiver. He's been moved more to a slot receiver position with Corey Coleman and Zach DeMange really coming into their own. Gordon still making big plays, though, in the slot.
Absolutely. Still, 8 years after leaving Baylor, the guy is still in a Cleveland uniform and still making huge plays in the biggest moments for these Browns.
Isaiah Crowell around the outside. Not a whole lot there. He'll get 3, though. 4 carries, 44 yards, and a touchdown. It's a good start for Isaiah Crowell as the first quarter. And we may get one more playoff. Jugs in the chat saying Browns should run it. Captain Plan saying I smell a pick. So, I don't think both those can be true if they do run it, but it's going to take us to the end of the first quarter. Your score, 10-7, LA on top. Lip, any surprise from the first quarter? Is this pretty much how you thought it'd go?
I actually really like that we just talked about that the Browns are getting Josh Gordon involved more. Like I've said, he's made some huge plays for them this season, so getting him more involved early in games, I think that's a huge help to the Browns.
Isaiah Crowell going over the left side. He'll get 2 yards on the play. Didn't see who went down. I think Isaiah Crowell got back up, but didn't see who went down. We'll get you an update on that injury when we find out. 10-7 your score, folks. Appreciate all you tuning into MBL Live. Doubleheader action. I'm OSU. I'm hanging out with my man, the co-commish Lip. Got great battle tonight. Don't forget our Super Bowl broadcast, 8:50 Eastern pregame here on the network. 9:15 kickoff. MBL for the Super Bowl for season 29. hosted, of course, by my friends over at EA, the EA Madden NFL channel, as that throw looking for David Njoku on the seam route, and he was all kinds of open, but Jameis Winston maybe a little too amped up.
Yeah, I worry now, as I've seen a couple of just wild throws by Winston, but the bright side is he's made those throws all season. He just lets them rip too hard sometimes, and that's something I think that Cleveland's used to, so I don't think it's going to bother them too much, even though it forced them into a 4th down and a punt right now.
It was Fowler, the middle linebacker, going down for the LA Chargers. He will not be able to return. Decky Dog in the chat saying these teams so similar. Yeah, very similar teams. Both teams rely on that run game, have a very potent runner, which just seems like an understatement for Melvin Gordon, but Isaiah Crowell equally potent. It's just a matter of which pass game I think will get more going, and so far Jameis Winston's had a good game as that pass underneath for 9 yards. Winston's only had to throw it 3 times. Like, I've been impressed by Winston, and he's actually performed relatively well here in the first quarter. A guy who has some trouble turning the ball over, hasn't done that so far, only 1 bad throw.
Yeah, and I think if that fumble doesn't happen and if the Chargers don't immediately return it for a score, they have a lot more confidence. But I don't think it messed them up too bad, as they've still been pretty good.
Oh, boy. Oh, Melvin Gordon, that spin move. It gets him up to the 48-yard line, 19 yards on the play for Melvin Gordon. It's 2nd and 1 lip. Every team knows they're going to hand the ball off to Melvin Gordon, and it just doesn't matter. He is so good with the ball in his hands.
Did you see him wait for an eternity for that blocker to get out in front of him? He trusts his linemen so well, and that's why he's such a dominant runner in the NBL.
Yeah, 1st and 10 now for the LA Chargers. Carson Wentz dropping back to pass on 1st down, looks to the flat. It is complete to Subert, the fullback who gets up to the 42-yard line. Carson Wentz, look, not flashy. He's not going to gun it like Jameis Winston will take his shots. Wentz is very methodical. He has some very talented wide receivers, loves using the intermediate and underneath routes, and that's when he can be successful. It's when he gets in over his head and starts trying to make the big play that problems occur.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. They need to just play the run game, play their smart, short, underneath passes, because that's what Wentz does best.
How about another false start on Emmanuel Ogbah? I think we're seeing the Cleveland Browns, maybe they got that aggressive pass rush on as another free 1st down given from the Browns. And that's going to put the Chargers at the 37-yard line, 1st and 10 for Carson Wentz and the Chargers. He comes out under center, 2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers. He's got Melvin Gordon in the backfield here on 1st and 10. It's going to be handoff to Gordon right up the gut, up the middle, and a rare only 1-yard gain for Melvin Gordon. It was a 1-yard gain that turned into 2.
A completely stuffed run.
Yeah, still got 2.
Still able to get 2. That's, 6 yards less than his average, but it's still a good run for how well Cleveland played that.
Yeah, 2nd and 8 now for the Chargers. Shotgun formation for Wentz. He's dropping back to pass on 2nd down. Looking, rolling to the right side. He's got the comeback route. It's well covered, but it's caught on dot by Carson Wentz, finding Mike Williams. That window was tight. Mike Williams was working towards the sidelines, and he put it only where his receiver could catch it.
And that's another good thing. Carson Wentz can throw the ball very well. He just doesn't have to a lot, and that's why I think sometimes they struggle with it because they try to force it whenever they don't need to. But that was a great throw.
Yeah, really great throw. Now 1st and 10 for the Chargers. It's Wentz under center. 2 tight ends, 1 wide receiver. That's Keenan Allen out to the left side. Melvin Gordon in the backfield. It's a quick 3-step drop. He's looking over top for Allen. Oh, he had a step, and Wentz put it on the money. Touchdown Chargers. Keenan Allen might be one of the most underrated receivers in the league, because this team works so hard with the running game. Allen sort of gets lost in the fray, but he is young, he is athletic, and he's got the burners to put him on top.
Yeah, Keenan Allen really gets overlooked a lot of the time, and I don't know why, because he is so athletic and he has such great hands. And you talked about Carson Wentz not really going to take a lot of shots, but this is the AFC Championship game, and they just took a shot, and they hit it right on the money. I am extremely impressed with that play call.
17-7 your score, and now the pressure goes on the Cleveland Browns. 3:46 to go. One of those touchdowns off of a Cleveland turnover. They're going to have to find a way to get in the end zone on this drive, because this is where it gets dangerous. A 10-point lead at the half turns into 20 in the second half because of how well they can run the ball and close out this game. A little PAFK quick action, and he's got a man right down the seam. Maybe a little scared there as he did the little possession catch in the middle of the field. He probably could have kept running, but they'll take Bartu with the catch, 24 yards and 1st down for the Browns.
There were so many options there on that play. That's a great play for them to run. When you're running the ball well, you can run that. You have so many options down the field, short. Great, easy read for Winston.
Hand off to Isaiah Crowell. Cuts it up the middle. He's got some room. Bowls over one defender. He's going to be taken down to the 45-yard line. First down, Browns, and that's Isaiah Crowell. Melvin Gordon, of course, explosive, but a very patient runner. Crowell, he has that explosiveness. You saw there wasn't a big opening for him to get through, Lip, but he hit it hard.
Yeah, he's so patient, and that's one thing that people kind of overlook with Crowell. Patient and powerful.
And right there, Winston trying to force the post route. One-on-one coverage was so good on the outside, though. Coleman couldn't come up with the catch. Coleman having a tough game. He was the victim of, well, getting absolutely obliterated and fumbling the ball on the first drive. And right there, a tough play in coverage. One catch so far for Corey Coleman. Now 2nd and 10 for the Browns. 2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers over to the right side. Isaiah Crowell in the backfield. Stretch run for Crowell. Cuts it back up the middle. Once again, the blocking is good. Crowell, go out. Go outside. Stop running into those guys. Go out. There's a lot of green space that way. But he gets a first down.
I don't want to put another thing on Corey Coleman's shoulders, but I believe that he just kind of got in the way. He tried his hardest to make a block. Crowell had a lane, and he just kind of ran into him because it just was not fitting right. But still a great play.
Crowell up the left side, a little counter play is going to get 2 yards. Something that's I think is interesting with Cleveland, Lip, is that they tend to like to get Crowell outside. They like to get Duke Johnson outside. LA doing a nice job of recognizing that, but Cleveland counters by having a lot of cuts back to the middle of the field where there's a lot of open space.
Yeah, and Crowell is so good at reading that and getting to the outside. And then the thing is, he has the speed and the power to really gain the yards no matter what you throw at him. That's why this matchup is so interesting.
Play action pass, rolling to the right side is Winston. Has a man in the middle of the field. It is complete. Corey Coleman with a big catch at the 7-yard line. That should give a little more confidence to the young wide receiver. A nice throw by Winston and a smart play. Coleman wasn't going to get blown up once again. He catches it, goes right down to the ground. 1st and goal for the Browns.
Yeah, and you see right there, even after 2 just wild throws from Winston, he still has that confidence to throw that ball. Coverage was lurking, still has the confidence to throw it because they're used to it.
Oh, Isaiah Crowell. I mean, the ghost truck probably was unnecessary, but the cut back on the little counter play gets him to the end zone. 2nd touchdown of the day for Isaiah Crowell in this Cleveland rushing attack, and they've cut it back to a 1-score game. 3-point ball game on the backs of the Crow. The Cleveland faithful proud of their young running back who has 2 touchdowns in the first half.
They have so much to be proud of with where this team is going. They're taking a step forward every single season by a lot. And the thing is that I'm so impressed with is the Chargers' run defense is incredibly tough to get through. It is one of the best run defenses I've ever seen.
Yeah, try playing in that division. Yeah, I'm aware. It's pretty good.
And Crowell is making them look like an average run defense.
Yeah, isn't that nice?
I'm very impressed with it.
1st and 10, Chargers. They're looking to throw the ball down the field. Wentz has him in a little stick and nod route. It's Hunter Henry, and it's a first down. Carson Wentz, 7 of 7, 112 and a touchdown. He's coming off a game as Cameron Van Noos just subscribed over on YouTube. Appreciate the sub, big fella. Carson Wentz had a fantastic game in the divisional round. He's having yet another fantastic game. This guy's peaking at the right moment.
Oh, I see. You bring up that game because I bring up the Chargers.
Because you brought up the Chargers! Yeah, how do you like it?
I like it a lot. I like the patience I'm seeing from the young quarterback who's leading an incredible team here in the AFC Championship.
Jugs in the chat saying the Browns aren't prepared for this pass game, which is weird to say about the LA Chargers. They're not a passing team, but so far they have really bucked the tendency. Both these teams, I mean, Lip, you mentioned that this is a chess match. It really feels like that. It seems like both teams breaking from their tendencies a little bit so that they don't get stale and using a little misdirection.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of things that the numbers would say things are going to happen, and this game's totally going a different direction because these owners, these teams, these coaches, they're smart, and they're playing this game so well.
2nd and 5, handoff to Melvin Gordon. He's got the first down and more around the blocker to the 20, to the 15, down to the 14-yard line. Melvin Gordon keeps rolling, 7 carries, 73 yards. That's a nice little average of 10 yards per carry for Melvin Gordon. MG2K continuing doing what he does as the Chargers are in the red zone. That only took 40 seconds.
Not only do you have to thank these linemen, you also have to thank thank big 6'4" Mike Williams getting a great block on the outside. That's really helping the run game today.
Panthers fan 234 following here on Twitch. Appreciate the follow, Panthers fan. As Brandon Oliver gets the carry, doesn't get anything as Cleveland uses its last time out of the first half. A reminder, folks, during our Super Bowl broadcast tomorrow night, again, 9:15 is kickoff, 8:50 pregame show, we'll be giving away the first of 3 NBL gift packs valued at over $150. You're going to have a custom controller in there. You're going to have some NBL swag, sort of like the stuff you're seeing right here on camera. You're going to have some Xbox Live gift cards. You don't want to miss out on that. Again, it's a subscriber-only giveaway, so hit that subscribe button before then. We'll be doing 3 of those. The longer you're subscribed, the more entries you have. You don't want to miss out on that. Giving out the first one tomorrow night during the Super Bowl of Season 29. Handoff to Melvin Gordon. He runs into his own blocker and gets no gain on the play. Melvin Gordon got no game on the play. The end is here, folks. Hit the bunkers. The world is ending. Run, and nothing happens for Melvin Gordon.
Yeah, and I was interested to see how this is going to play out with Cleveland burning that time out there, because whenever you do that, you allow the Chargers to play the game the way they want. But they were able to stop Melvin Gordon there for no yards.
Yeah, shotgun for Carson Wentz here on 3rd and 10. And the Browns defensive line finally gets to him on a play that wasn't just a coverage sack. Darius, a nice move on the outside. They hold the Chargers to a field goal here. As the clock down, running down to halftime. The Browns defense, what sort of adjustments do you make at halftime, Lip? Because the Chargers got this ball back with 1:58 to go. They really had no problems getting down the field. They haven't had any problems moving the ball against this Cleveland Browns defense that's supposed to be their strength. It just doesn't seem like they're on the same page that they should be, because they really need to get a couple stops on this Chargers team.
It's tough to say that they have to make adjustments because they've played fairly well. Carson Wentz hasn't thrown an incompletion yet, but I just think that's because he's playing extremely smart. You see him take that sack there where I think a lot of guys would have waited for that linebacker to make his decision and then went to the opposite receiver. And Wentz just took the sack and made sure that they got points. It's just very tough to try to make adjustments when the team's on the opposite side of the ball is just playing smart football.
Coleman coming in motion. They hand it to him on the jet sweep. Makes one man miss. I saw a bug on the ground and jumped over it.
I think he had one guy to beat, but he decided to try to jump, and that did not work out.
A question here. Does Z-Star know you don't have to hit every button on every run? Like, you can just run, right? Like, he knows
the
that.
ghost moves.
Yeah, he's 2 air trucks and the hurdle of a bug. I mean, again, the 2 ghost trucks work. Maybe he should have gone for the ghost truck on that play. Has trouble handling the kickoff. Major going to take it up past the 15 to the 20 to the 25 to the 30 to the 35. It was a ploy the whole time. Major gonna take it all the way. The Chargers get a touchdown in all phases of the game. You have trouble stopping the offense? Well, we'll have you get a little trouble stopping special teams. Major, I thought that was going to be disaster and off his helmet, but he knew what he was doing the entire time. Touchdown, Chargers.
Oh, that fella just went from getting cut immediately after the game if this went south to getting a nice extension. I can't believe that. I just think that the Browns got so excited. They saw the ball on the ground. They all converged on that point. Nobody covered the outside, and that's exactly where the kick returner went, all the way to the house for a touchdown.
Well, the Chargers go up 27-14. Boy, Lip, is there anything worse than coming out of halftime and giving up a kick return for a touchdown? Like, it doesn't get worse than that.
It's so bad for Cleveland because the Chargers got that touchdown on defense. They get a touchdown on a kick return. You haven't really forced them to score points with their offense. Even though they have done it, you haven't forced them to do it. And like I said, they make such good adjustments at halftime that if they really pull away now, it's going to be impossible for the Browns.
1st and 10 for Jameis Winston. Boy, clear sack miss. He's going to go out of bounds at the 26-yard line. I don't know what that play call was, but I did not like any of that because it just seemed like nobody was going the way of Jameis Winston's roll, and it ended up in only a 1-yard gain.
Yeah, Winston was extremely lucky to not be sacked on that, but what's impressive was the Chargers were still able to hold him to just 1 yard on that quarterback run. It's very impressive. The defense is so good.
A nice little curl route to the outside. Corey Coleman with the catch as Cleveland gets down to the 38-yard line. First down for the Browns. Led on the flip side, the Browns offense, they've been very good against an incredibly tough defense. They've been able to move the ball, and whether it's Jameis Winston throwing it or Isaiah Crowell running it, they really haven't had a whole lot of trouble against one of the best defenses in the NBL.
Yeah, and like I said, the Chargers are playing very smart, but so are the Browns, and that's why they're still very much in this game, especially with the way they've been running the ball.
5:04 to go here in the third quarter. 1st and 10. Winston dropping back, steps up in the pocket, little crossing route. He finds Josh Gordon, who gets up to midfield. First down. Browns 8-12, 134 for Jameis Winston to start this game. Again, folks, we appreciate all you tuning into NBL Live broadcast number 187 here on twitch.tv/NBL Network and over on YouTube, youtube.com/Madden Bomber League. I'm OSU. I'm hanging out with my man, the commish, the co-commish, the man himself, the Pittsburgh Steelers owner. I ran out of things. I was trying to come out with one more, and I just... The mouth guard gets moving, the brain just didn't catch it.
Well,
the Taco Bell King himself!
Yes!
There we go.
That's the one I was waiting for.
Got it, right there. Jameis Winston dropping back on 2nd and 9. He looks underneath once again. Isaiah Crowell lowers the shoulder and puts a man move on that defender, trucking right over him and getting a first down for the Browns.
Crowell is tired of people saying Cleveland's lucky. He's tired of saying Cleveland's not a legitimate team.
They're not.
They won the AFC North. They're in the AFC Championship. Let's go.
1st and 10 for the Cleveland Browns. Is Jameis Winston's under center. Isaiah Crowell in the backfield. 2 wide receivers, 1 to each side for Winston and the Browns. 1 tight end out there. David Njoku, guy we haven't talked about a lot, but a great target. Blitz coming. It's a quick out route. Great route by Corey Coleman. Catches it and turns upfield to the 20-yard line. Nice recognition there by Jameis Winston, seeing the rush coming up the middle. This Cleveland offensive line, Lip. We talked about the Chargers offensive line, how good they are, but the Cleveland Browns offensive line has really stymied this talented defensive line.
Yeah, there's great pass rushers on both teams tonight, and the offensive lines are picking them up very well.
Oh, Isaiah Crowell, a pancake on the outside, and he tried to hurdle the defender, and a great play by the safety coming up and bringing down Isaiah Crowell at the 10-yard line. It looked like he was going to have the end zone, but Trey Boston stops Isaiah Crowell at the 10-yard line, and now the Browns have a 1st and 10. They can get a first down to the half-yard line. 2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers. It's going to be Winston dropping back to pass on 1st and 10. Looks underneath. It is complete down. I think that's Mitchell with the catch to the 3-yard line. Quick throw underneath by the Browns. And they're able to cut into that 10-yard first down they need as Mitchell gets his first catch of the day. He's going to bring up a 2nd and goal. It changed from, by the way, from 1st and 10 to 2nd and goal.
I have no words for that adjustment.
Toss play to Crowell. Hey, there's no one out there. How about Isaiah Crowell's 3rd touchdown of the day? As he just shakes off the defender. A great play call. Outside run for the Browns, and they cut it back to a 1-score lead. Isaiah Crowell's got to be looking at the defense and the special teams going, guys, I'm trying over here. Help me out.
Yeah, he's doing so much, and he's doing it so well. You see the balanced attack there, 15 runs, 15 passes for this Browns team. They're very balanced, and they're playing very smart, taking the underneath stuff, and Corral's just running all over defense I didn't think you could run on.
And that was a major mistake by Major. He caught that ball right away and didn't let the ball bounce off his helmet first, because that's a lucky play. Instead, he only gets up to the 28-yard line. Disappointing after he took the opening kickoff for the second half to the house. 27-21, your score here, folks. Chargers trying to stay undefeated, trying to be the first NBL team to go undefeated and win the Super Bowl, but they've got their hands full with the Cleveland Browns. Play action pass, Carson Wentz rolling out to the left side, has a man wide open in the flat. It's the fullback, Silbert, all the way down to the 38-yard line. Carson Wentz 8 of 8, 122 and a touchdown. Perfect to start this game. What I was going to say about Jameis Winston and about Isaiah Crowell, a lot of times when you see a running back get 3 touchdowns, it's usually a team that's maybe running the ball 75% of the time, but this Browns team has come out and been balanced. It's just been Crowell slamming the door shut and getting in the end zone.
Yeah, he's making the best of his opportunities, and I think that's really helping them that they are so balanced, because the Chargers have to pick what they want to attack, and the balance is creating good plays on for both areas for the Browns. They just have to shore up those areas, like we said, the fumble, the special teams thing. They're playing a good game.
These penalties.
Just need to yes, exactly. They're being too aggressive. They're being aggressive in weird situations and not aggressive where you would expect them to. 1st and 10 for the Chargers after the 3rd free first down off of an encroachment penalty.
as Gordon will get 3 yards on the play up to the 46-yard line. He's going to bring up a 2nd and 7. Hey, guys, while we have a moment here in the third quarter, I want to give a big shout-out to our graphic sponsor, Web3KS.com. They do that overlay you see here on NBL Live, a ton of other graphics for our entire network. If you or anyone you know needs graphics done for an affordable price, hit up Web3KS.com. Our business will take great care of you. Web3KS.com, the leaders in affordable graphic design. 2nd and 7. Boy, that post route made the linebacker look silly, and Hunter Henry gets down to the 23-yard line. Wentz's perfect game continues. 9 of 9. The LA Chargers, they look like they can't be stopped right now. It's only a 6-point game. It just feels like the Browns can't get a handle on how to stop the LA Chargers.
Yeah, that post route absolutely destroyed the Cleveland Browns, and now here we are getting into the red zone. The Browns have to lock this down. This is a big moment in the game late in the third quarter.
Handoff to Melvin Gordon. He cuts over to the right side. One man to beat. Oh, what a hit. Jabril Peppers. I almost said Julius Peppers. Not the same guy. Jabril Peppers coming up and making a big hit on Melvin Gordon. That is not an easy guy to bring down. And the young man out of the University of Michigan makes a big play, cutting him down and bringing up a 2nd and 4.
The Browns need to catch a break, and they need to force that ball onto the ground. They need to make Carson Wentz make a mistake because they've been moving the ball so well all day.
What you're saying is they need to get lucky. Got it. Okay, well, if there's one team that can do it, it's the Cleveland Browns. As what a rush up the middle, and Myles Garrett, one of our players to watch. Only a 4-man rush, and he got to the backfield. 3rd sack of the day for the Cleveland Browns. First one for Myles Garrett, and a huge opportunity for the Browns to get off the field here with a 3rd and 11.
That was a great play call. They brought 4 on the rush, and then they had that man coverage, and the Chargers just did not call a play that was going to beat any man coverage, and they get the sack. Myles Garrett coming up big.
Yeah, and I said I'm pretty sure he was untouched. I don't think he was even looked at. As a quick pass to the outside, little screen for Gordon, trying to get to the 1st down, and Jabril Peppers, the ball's on the ground, and the Browns don't pick it up. There are 5 of them over there, and it rolls out of bounds. They got maybe the break they needed, and nonetheless, the Chargers keep the ball. They get a 1st down. A big mistake by the Browns. Nobody fell on that. They all tried to scoop and score.
Yeah, that was the break that the Browns needed. They needed to just pick that ball up, fall on it. Not pick it up, fall on that ball. And this changes the game, but here we go, Melvin Gordon again.
And another great tackle on the interior of that defense as we find out Jabril Peppers is nobody unless someone is broken. It just feels like nobody's going to go out of this game. It's the AFC Championship game, folks. As Days of the Week, great name, absolutely great name. Now following here on Twitch, appreciate the follow. And appreciate all our followers out there, both on YouTube and our subscribers over on Twitch and on YouTube. We appreciate all of you. 2nd and 8. Carson Wentz dropping back to pass. So we'll roll out to the outside. He's got some room. Slides down at the 6-yard line as we near the end of the third quarter. Lip 27-21. Chargers looking to get points on this drive. It does feel like, though, even though the Chargers are primed to go up by 2 scores, it still feels like anyone's ballgame.
Yeah, and that's because of how well the Browns have played on offense. Their defense hasn't really made any they haven't put any pressure on Wentz to throw any bad passes right there. They only rushed 3 defenders, and even though they have great pass rushers, that offensive line of the Chargers is picking them up all day. They've got to send the heat. They've got to do something different. Make Wentz make a mistake.
On 3rd and 3, Melvin Gordon gets the carry, and the Browns defense gets a stop on a 3rd and short handoff to the only 2,000-yard rusher in NBL history. The Browns defense comes up huge and forces a short field goal. The kick is up. It is good. The Chargers extend their lead to 9. But what a job by the Browns defense, especially against Melvin Gordon, getting a stop and getting the ball back. Now it's up to the offense to keep doing what they've been doing, Lip. Get down the field and get a touchdown.
Yeah, especially to keep your head about you after that missed fumble opportunity and stop Melvin Gordon in a situation he's probably picked up 150 times this season. That is truly showing that the Browns are really in this game, and right now they have the chance after forcing them through the field goal.
And folks, don't forget doubleheader action here on the network. We've got the NFC Championship game coming up immediately following this game. Lions and Giants should be another fantastic game. The Super Bowl will be set. That Super Bowl tomorrow night, 9:15 Eastern is the kickoff as the pass to the outside. Corey Coleman, what a spin move. He's taken down by Verrett at the 47-yard line. 8:50 pregame show tomorrow, 9:15. The kickoff for the Super Bowl here for season 29. You don't want to miss it. But we got one more game tonight, so don't change the channel. Don't close out of the tab. Don't turn off your TV. Just keep watching, guys. It's going to be a great night of football. We've already seen one great game here, and this one's not over. 5:18 to go. Shotgun formation for Jameis Winston. 3 wide receivers out there. He drops back on 1st and 10. And he throws it and is complete to David Njoku. A nice break by Njoku. That was a weird throwing motion by Winston. Almost like he cocked it back to make sure he got a little extra mustard on that ball. They're already down to the 36-yard line. First catch of the day, Lip, for big tight end David Njoku.
Yeah, the middle of this field is so dangerous because of their linebackers. And, of course, the outside is a no-fly zone. Just a great route there.
Oh, Isaiah Crowe with the ghost truck again. He gets 11 yards on the play. Up over 100, 13 carries, 109 yards, and 3 touchdowns. What a day for the Crow. Back after injury. He got injured in the middle of the season, came back late, Lip, and he looks like he's at 100% today.
He is one of those guys that actually really benefits from being hurt. Taking a couple weeks off, resting up. He's gone on huge runs late in the season, into the playoffs, after injury. It's not a bad thing for this guy and this team when that happens.
Play action pass for Jameis Winston, looking to throw it here. Rolling out to the left side, has a man on the sidelines, but I think his heels were out of bounds. They were indeed, and Njoku's got to know where he's on the field and stay in bounds. That's a big opportunity for a first down. Instead, incomplete pass. Days of the Week saying, I wish y'all commentated real games. You're way better than Chris Worth. Appreciate the kinds words. Chris Collinsworth, though, big fan of the NBL Network, Lip. I don't know even that he watches every game for tips.
He does.
Doesn't listen to him, but he watches.
Yes. And right there, Winston had space to take off. But, I mean, the guy was open. He just did not have spatial awareness. Real big flip for Browns.
Oh, boy. Boy, that free rusher came around the outside. Evans right through the gap, and Winston's got to see that. That one was really obvious. It took a while for him to get there. He held on the ball too long, and a sack for the Chargers. Now Cleveland's got to be careful. They don't want to back out of field goal range. 35-yard line. Empty backfield for Jameis Winston. Watch Josh Gordon, right slot, 4 wide receivers, 1 tight end. He drops back pass on 3rd and 20. Gordon all sorts open, but he recognizes it late, and Gordon can't hold on to the ball. Winston's got to throw that about a second sooner, Lip, because they waited just long enough for that defense able to collapse around him.
Yeah, and that's a dangerous throw, waiting whenever you get deeper into that secondary with those corners.
The kick is up to cut it back to a 1-score game. It is good. 24-30 your score, 3:56 to go. And Lip, now it's up to the Browns defense to do something they have yet to do today. Hold the Chargers to no points, no field goals, no touchdowns, no nothing. They need to get the ball back down 6.
This is such a tough situation because they haven't really brought the pressure, the heat to make Carson Wentz make a bad decision, make a bad read, and force a turnover. I don't know if now is the time to bring it, but you've got to do something different because they've just been slowly working their way down the field every time they've had the ball.
How about Melvin Gordon gets a first down, and then they give up a face mask, another 15
sloppy.
yards up to the 46-yard line. Lots of penalties for the Browns. Lip, we've seen 3 first downs given up by an encroachment, and now a free 15 yards. And that puts them basically at midfield. Chargers very close to field goal range, and they got Melvin Gordon doing work.
The worst thing about this game for the Browns on the defensive side of the ball is that you've put the Chargers basically in midfield every drive with all of these penalties.
Yeah. Now 1st and 10 for Gordon. Oh, he's got a lot of room on the outside. Don't know where the Browns defense went. He cuts inside. MG2K, 13-yard line. And now if you're the Browns, you just ponder letting him in. I mean, this is a drive where you knew Gordon was going to get touches. The Browns now can't do anything about it.
It feels like Gordon should have scored there. I expect a 2,000-yard rusher to put this game away right there. But the Browns, like I said, they've got a fight in them. They're still in this.
Hand off to Brandon Oliver, who is no Melvin Gordon. He gets a yard on the play. It's going to bring up a 2nd and 9. Again, folks, stick with us to the end of the game. We'll have our NBL Live Player of the Game for Broadcast 187. And then we'll segue right in to our next game, the NFC Championship game, Lions and Giants. That one's going to be a fantastic matchup here on the network, starting immediately following this game here on the NBL Network. Twitch.tv/NBL Network. We appreciate all you tuning in. 2nd and 9. It looks like a draw play for Brandon Oliver once again. Down to the 6-yard line. Gordon needing, I think, a little bit of a breather after he ran all the way down to the 13-yard line. Oliver back-to-back carries. Now big 3rd and 3. They can't kill the clock until under 2 minutes, but they sure are chewing up a lot of what's remaining.
Yeah, and I think that Melvin Gordon has the opportunity to put this game away right now. They let him out for 2 plays.
No, how about we give him a first down?
Once again, wrong time to be aggressive.
That's
Carson
the third
Wentz
one on Ogba.
He's come out and he's used that count to draw them offsides, I think, now 3 or 4 times in this game. And there they get the first down off it. That was, once again, the wrong time to go aggressive for the Browns defense.
Well, now first and goal, handoff to Melvin Gordon, who doesn't get anywhere. No gain on the play. Gordon has yet to find the end zone. But it's been the other phase of the game for the LA Chargers. A touchdown on a kickoff return, a touchdown off of a fumble. And that's been the big difference in this game. The Browns' offense has been fantastic, but the defense has given up points at an alarming rate. They haven't really been able to stop the Chargers at all. And the Chargers have been getting points in other phases of the game. Second and goal. And there's Melvin Gordon. He finds the end zone. Touchdown, Chargers. That might seal it, folks. As we're nearing the 2-minute warning, we know how good the Browns' offense is and how impressive the Browns have been today against a very good team, Lip. But when you give up 36 points to a team, it's going to be really tough for you to win the game.
Yeah, and the biggest disappointment was that it wasn't because a lack of game plan. It was because of a lack of discipline. All of those penalties, starting those drives around midfield, has really killed the Browns. Giving up first downs on penalties, just can't have it. And that's why we've seen the Chargers punch it in so easy today.
Chargers are going to be going for 2 here to try to extend this to a full 14-point lead. 2:09 to go. It's going to be tough for the Browns to come back, Lip, and they've proved a lot today, but we talk about the extra points, the extra possessions. Usually we're talking about turnovers creating extra possessions for the offense, but the Chargers' offense, which I think most would agree, apart from, as that one, Hunter Henry wide open over on the left side, extended to a 14-point game. The offense, especially the passing offense, I think many would agree is the weakness of this team, but Carson Wentz, perfect on the day. Didn't miss a throw, and when you get 14 points from your defense and special teams, you're feeling really confident, and that's, I think, a lot about why Carson Wentz came out so good today, Lippis. He just felt on top the entire game.
Yeah, and he was very patient. He's coming off a 322-yard, 3-touchdown, no interception game. The guy has confidence. He's played so well today. I don't even think he's thrown an incompletion. It's
Perfect.
just been such a great game by Carson Wentz when he really needed it.
Throw to the right side. They called that a fumble.
No.
The luck has run out in Cleveland. The luck's gone, folks.
Yep.
A team that, I mean, again, as you can see, a talented team. Booth review. It's upheld.
I have so many questions.
Pose some of those questions. Let us know. What questions you got there, Lipper? What you got?
It looked like he batted the ball.
Uh-huh.
And that was a fumble that they felt they had to review.
Sure.
Poor Cleveland, but hey,
no,
a great season.
Now give them poor Cleveland. They have been bailed out many times, folks.
Trust me. I know. I have lived it. But
yeah,
hey,
do the Steelers know anything about the Browns getting bailed out this year?
A thing or two.
By the way, in our chat, okay, I gotta say this. Usually, we keep it in the Twitch chat, but I'm gonna flip over to our group me here because during this game, Mr. Lucky Pants Z-Star, owner of the Cleveland Browns, has the nerve to go Madden is wild. Botched kick return touchdown, incomplete pass called fumble, 4 out of 5 offsides. I had aggressive pass rush off. If there's one person who can't bitch about this in the chat, it's Senior Z-Star, who throws a high pass, it goes low, and he still caught it. Got no reason. I mean, give it, Madden giveth, Madden taketh away.
Well, we're not even talking about versus the Patriots, a wide open touchdown for New England, and they just rocket the ball backwards.
Yeah.
This is one team that cannot talk about breaks because they've gotten so many of them. I don't want to say it's put them here because they've grown. They have taken steps, but
settle down there.
It's I don't even want to say it's balanced, but sure. It's balanced.
There's been plenty of, if there's one team that has had plenty of fortune, it's the Cleveland Browns. And now the LA Chargers lining up in the Z-Star formation, going down for that knee that they love so much. But this Browns team, this was a one-dimensional team, Lip. This was a team that only knew how to run the ball. And in the past 2 seasons, Jameis Winston and this offense has taken advantage of the wide receiver weapons that they have and has really developed into a very potent passing attack, something I didn't think we'd say about Cleveland when we were looking 2 or 3 seasons ago.
Yeah, and that's part of the reason why I'm actually proud of this team, because you know, the media was really hard on them for just sticking to the run game all the time, but they have grown, and I'm actually even going to flip this around. I'm worried that Jameis Winston's kind of holding them back now, because they have a good defense, they have a good offensive line and great run game. But whenever you have to put the game on the quarterback's shoulders, Jameis Winston is just never there. And it's just, I don't know. I don't know if he's the guy. I have just so many questions about him because of the pieces around him, and he just continues to just be questionable to me.
Well, your final score here, the LA Chargers keep the undefeated season alive as Saints Great But Disappoint Me is now following here on Twitch. The LA Chargers are the first participant in the NBL season 29 Super Bowls. They win the AFC and keep the undefeated season alive with a 38-24 victory over the Cleveland Browns. Before we talk about our NBL Live player of the game, Lip, just a moment on what this LA Chargers team proved today. They proved throughout the playoffs. A lot of people, they doubted this team. They said a team that is as one-dimensional as a team with a 2,000-yard rusher isn't going to survive in the playoffs. They went through your Pittsburgh Steelers. They went through the Cleveland Browns. And now they're going to be representing the AFC in the Super Bowl. Just a minute on what the Chargers have done this season that's been so impressive.
I think that what's most impressive is that whenever people say they're one-dimensional, they can only run the ball. Sorry, they can only run the ball. Carson Wentz comes out and has 2 really good games. Now, this game was not a 300-yard game. It wasn't a 4-touchdown game, but there was no incompletions. There was no mistakes. He is so willing and ready to take the fullback in the flat and let him pick up 10 yards, more so than a lot of teams in this league. When you have a dominant defense and you have that dominant run game, when you just play smart like that in the passing game, that development for Carson Wentz is really the key to this team, and it's so impressive to have 0 losses heading into the Super Bowl. I'm really excited to see how this plays out, because we've talked about the curse of being undefeated. It is a real thing, but so far Carson Wentz is going completely against that, along with everything else the Chargers have going for them.
Yeah, as Draco in the chat says, please don't be the 07 Pats. 1 win away from history. It's time to have our NBL Live player of the game here for broadcast 187. Lip, I could banter. I could name some players who had nice games. But Carson Wentz, a perfect game. Didn't have to do a whole lot, but was perfect. Especially with Melvin Gordon not having a touchdown until late. I know Gordon was so good. But I think Carson Wentz, much like we saw in some of the other games, because we didn't expect a whole lot from him, the ability for him to go perfect and no turnovers, move the ball down the field, and get the Chargers in position, I was so impressed with him. He'd be my choice for NBL Live player of the game.
Yeah, I think that if Gordon had a touchdown or 2 early in the game that got them the lead, but I really do think it was Carson Wentz playing the smart, take what the defense was giving you. He did that all game. Gordon put it away, but Wentz put them in all the right positions to be able to win this game.
Carson Wentz is going to be your NBL Live player of the game for broadcast 187. If you want to check out all of our player of the game selections all the way back to broadcast number 1, you can check them out at 365.maddenbarmleague.com. Underneath the NBL Live tab, that's where you can check it out. It's a sweet look back at NBL history. You can also apply to the Madden Barmer League if you're interested in joining the Grid Developmental League and work your way up to the NBL. 365.maddenbarmleague.com. All right, deep breath. This is where a lot of broadcasters hit the wall. But we got one more game to go. That was a really good one. But we got to fill out this Super Bowl. Coming up next, Lions and Giants. Matt Stafford, Harvey Beckham, the high-powered Lions offense taking on the Giants offense led by their defense, led by Marlon Petway. Let's take a look at the players to watch for this game. Let's talk about Harvey Beckham, Lip, because he has been so good. Almost 1,400 receiving yards, and this is a guy who missed a lot of the season. This is a guy who missed, I think, 4 weeks with an injury, averaging 18.8 per catch, HB 1899, doing such a great job underneath, but he's really been moved outside. They've been working him as the #1 receiver, and he's flourished in this role. Sometimes you see receivers struggle moving from slot to outside. That's not the case for Harvey Beckham.
Yeah, and 2 seasons ago in the draft, these Giants passed on Harvey Beckham to take a safety. A lot of people in this league believe safeties can be picked out from just about anywhere, but a talent like Harvey Beckham absolutely cannot. In his rookie season, 84 catches, 1,700 yards and 9 touchdowns. Comes back this year, like you said, misses time, still has 73 receptions, 1,300 yards and 14 scores. This kid out of Nebraska really has blown the minds of so many defenses in this league. He's an absolute star, and he's got a great quarterback thrown to him.
On the flip side, for the New York Giants, Davis Webb's going to have a good game, and he's having actually a really nice season. An underrated quarterback, one of the young stars in the NBL, completing almost 70% of his passes, 3,000 yards, 112.7 quarterback rating, 24 touchdowns, 15 interceptions. We saw this Giants team take a step back when Davis Webb was injured. At that point, we saw maybe a little chink in the armor, but once Davis Webb came back, the Giants got back to what they do, and we saw the offense get a little bit of a renaissance, and with Marlon Petway at running back, it has helped Davis Webb open up the playbook.
Yeah, and Davis Webb, whenever he came into the NBL, was a rookie quarterback, threw 36 touchdowns, 17 picks, quarterback rating 124, was the MVP of the league. The following 2 years, quarterback rating under 100, people kind of thought, he's taken a step back. Defenses figured him out, those things. But it's just, he's really been a great quarterback for this team. He really fits what they want to do, and they've had such a great year with him when he's there. 3,000 yards, 24 touchdowns, 15 interceptions. That quarterback rating back over 100, that makes this team so dominant that this team really has a lot of elements that I think can compete for a championship.
We're just waiting for these guys to get in the lobby. Lip, I think a lot of people, as you guys can get your predictions in the chat, and we'll read those throughout the first quarter as we get started here on Game 2 of this doubleheader. I think a lot of people would be leaning very heavily towards the Detroit Lions. But if there's one thing that gives you confidence in the New York Giants to pull out a win today, which part of their game do you think matches up best with the Lions?
That's a tough question because we saw New Orleans has a really good defense, but their offense was just kind of not quite there yet. They couldn't put up enough points to get past the Lions. Their defense held the Lions to 16 points. They played really, really well. I think that the Giants' defense can do the same thing, so I would have to go with that offense. That offense is going to have to step up. They're going to have to not be afraid to throw the ball, and most importantly, if they can get Petway running, that's going to be huge because whenever this defense knows you're going to pass and takes away one or the other, they're very tough to beat. They're very tough to put points up on. You can put yards up on them, but you can't put those points up. They're third in points, 15 points a game. So the offense, for the Giants is going to have to come to play if they want to make it to the Super Bowl.
I'm looking at some predictions in the chat. It's about split down the middle. A lot of people picking Giants in a close game or Lions. We got Lions 27-16 from Homer. Gub saying Giants 31-27. Congrats, Gub, on getting into the NBL Season 29 Super Bowl. Dark Brawler 24-14 Lions. Lip, let's get your prediction. Let's get ready to go to the game. Who do you like? Do the Giants and their defense, are they going to have success today against the Detroit Lions and get to the Super Bowl? Bananas looking for his first NBL Super Bowl. Or is the king himself, Bomber, going to get there, play under the bright lights of the NBL Super Bowl hosted on the EA Twitch tomorrow night, and get there looking for yet another Super Bowl title?
This game's going to be, it's tough to predict. The numbers are close. I honestly don't want to say this, but I think it's going to go to the Detroit Lions because of the home field advantage. I think the Giants are going to be a little rattled going into this game. It's on the road. It's going to be tough for them to do the tough things that they need to win. I think that the Lions are going to edge it out. It's going to be an offensive game. I'm taking the Lions 35-31.
What a game. Second part of our doubleheader. Let's fill out that Super Bowl. Let's see who's going to face the undefeated Los Angeles Chargers. Folks, coming up next, it's the NFC Championship game. Two teams who want this so bad to get a chance at glory. It's the Detroit Lions and the New York Giants. It's coming up right now here on NBL Live.
My name is Rex Dixon.
Craig Stein.
Clint from EA Sports.
You're watching NBL.
You're watching the NBL Network. And you're watching the MBLN Network.
Empty backfield for Atkins. He's been dropping back to pass here on 4th down. He is looking, he's looking deep over the middle. He has a man, it's Brandon Cooks, who catches and makes a man miss!
Oh, that's
Woodard is
touchdown.
dropping back, he's got open over the middle. It's
Wow.
Thunder.
That big playmaker
Look
ability
at
as
him
he
go!
finds him again.
Into the end zone. Another touchdown. One half of the Super Bowl, we know who that is. It's the Los Angeles Chargers, but we gotta fill the other spot. It's the 11-5 New York Giants, champions of the NFC East, taking on the Detroit Lions, champions of the NFC North. What a day we have here on NBL Live. Doubleheader action, AFC and NFC Championship weekend here at twitch.tv/NBL Network and over on YouTube, youtube.com/Madden Bomber League. We appreciate everybody hanging out with us here in the Twitch chat. Let's check out some of those predictions. Porter saying Giants 31-30. Tout saying Giants 28-24. TD Prime 28-21 Giants. October 24-21 Giants. A lot of people taking the Giants. I was listening to people talk yesterday, Lip, on our one day off, which, by the way, my voice thanks everybody for giving us that one day off. I was listening to a lot of people talk. A lot of people taking the New York Giants. They're a real sexy pick for that upset role because their strength is their defense and how good they looked in the divisional round.
Oh, absolutely. Like a guy like Reggie Ragland, know the guy pretty well.
Yeah, you're
really
familiar with him.
A little bit. Really like what he's doing in New York, especially being able to play against the pass. Just been so good. Very proud of that, and that's going to be a huge thing for the Giants and their defense.
How key is it for the New York Giants to get Marlon Petway going on the ground as he gets a yard on 1st down? It seems like when the Lions have had close games, it's because it's a balanced attack. If the New York Giants get stuck doing one thing, the Lions are going to take advantage.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You have to get the run game going to open up the pass because once this defense zeroes in on your pass, if you don't have a run, you are left out in the cold. Davis
Webb throws it on 2nd and 9. He got the 1st down and more up to the 36-yard line. A nice little spin move by Stokes. Odell Beckham, who has been out for a lot of the season, back today. Not 100%, but they want their #1 receiver out there. Ben Stokes, though, has filled in admirably in his absence.
Yeah, whenever you get a guy that can go for 800 yards, 7 touchdowns, and Ben Stokes next to OBJ, that is so great. And I know it's so tough whenever you're missing your #1 receiver, but to have those two guys on the field at the same time is going to be a huge benefit.
Yeah, final score of our AFC Championship game, as Plum was asking, 38-24. Chargers on top as Marlon Petway gets outside. He's got some room. Bowls over Callaway and gets to the 42-yard line. Give him 6 yards on the play. Going to bring up a 2nd and 4. The New York Giants played in what I think most would say one of the 2 worst divisions in the NBL this season. A very disappointing year for the division, but the New York Giants ended up coming out on top. Davis Webb went down for a couple weeks, came back, and the Giants, end of the season, I think most would say the Giants were probably the hottest team coming in.
Yeah, Davis Webb, two 300-yard games in the final 3 weeks.
Wow.
Just, sorry, I was watching that play.
Yeah, that one looked like it hurt. I felt that one up here.
I was stuck in between. He's going to take a sack, and then he's going to throw a pick, and I just had to wait and see what played out. But 3rd and 4, still good position for the Giants.
Yeah. A conversion here would be huge. 3rd and 4, shotgun formation for Davis Webb. He drops back on 3rd down. Looks to the right side, has a man on the corner route. It's complete. He's got some room down the sidelines to the 10, down to the 9-yard line. Davis Webb finding Evan Ingram, a guy, Lip, who we saw in the divisional round really disappear. That didn't target him a whole lot, but he's a huge part of this passing offense, and he's got a big catch on 3rd down.
Absolutely. The dude is a monster. 6'3" out of Ole Miss, 3 seasons over 700 yards. They got to use him a lot tonight.
Hand off to Marlon Petway on first and goal, cuts it back up the middle. Oh, what a job by Marlon Petway to fight through the tackle and get 8 up to the 1 yard line. Great job taking what you can get and cutting up the middle and then fighting through the tackle and getting 8 yards on the play.
We are seeing halfbacks with some fire and passion tonight. We saw it from Crowell, couldn't pull it out. Petway wants a different story. He's out here balling right now.
2nd and goal. A lot of guys in the box. They're going to hand it to Petway. He cuts outside into the end zone. Touchdown, Giants. We talk about how good the Giants defense is, Lip, but a huge drive for the Giants to settle down this home crowd here in Detroit and get an early lead. 6-0. They're on top as the extra point is up and good. I think they got a roughing the kicker on that one, too. They did. 7-0 your score. What an impressive opening drive from the champions of the NFC East.
Petway is such a massive player to this team because the last 2 seasons, just under 1,000 yards, not just under 1,000 yards. Don't really talk about him a lot. This year, 1,300 yards, but he got significantly more touches this season, and he's really balled out. Every season, he's over 6 yards a carry, so the guy knows how to run the football, and like we've talked about, the run game to these Giants in this game, this biggest moment in their franchise's history in the NBL, they got the run game going.
And a big part of the run game was so good, but that conversion on 3rd and 4, finding Evan Ingram on the outside down to the 9-yard line was huge. Now we can see the potent Detroit Lions offense as Matt Stafford finds Rob Gronkowski at the 50-yard line, 25 yards left. Rob Gronkowski getting up there in age, a guy who I think a lot of people have stopped looking at as a top weapon, but Matt Stafford hasn't forgotten about him. He's a guy who he goes to early and goes to often.
Yeah, the talent at tight end between Cupper and Gronkowski's 800 yards. Really dynamic duo as far as tight ends go in this league.
1st and 10, pass to the flat. Montgomery's got some room on the outside. He's going to get down to the 28-yard line. I think maybe a weakness, a lot of people talking about the Giants' defense, Lip. A lot of people saying that's an advantage, but we saw the Giants in the divisional round. It's their run defense that is so good. Today, that run defense really isn't going to be tested.
Yeah, and I think that plays so well for the Giants because they can focus in on stopping the passing attack. This offense has so many weapons. Harvey Beckham, obviously, Gronk, and this guy Montgomery, no one's really talking about, a 1,000-yard receiver.
Yeah.
This allows the Giants to focus in on that passing game, and that's what you have to take away when you play Detroit.
1st and 10, Stafford driving back to pass, looking down the middle of the field for Doug Baldwin. A big hit on Doug Baldwin, came in as a free agent, incomplete pass. A veteran presence that Bomber we know is very excited to bring in, a guy who has playoff experience. Right there, looked for him, but just too much contact there. Going to bring up a 2nd and 10.
Yeah, whenever you go to a guy like that down the middle, you expect him to come up with the catch. If a young guy doesn't make the catch, you understand it, but Doug Baldwin's made those catches before. Huge situation right there. Just couldn't come up with it.
Shotgun formation. Matt Stafford drops back, dumps it off underneath to the running back, Wilson. He'll get a couple to the 26, and a huge opportunity for the Giants. An opportunity to stop the Detroit Lions, to hold them to a field goal. They don't come a whole lot as NBM 23-118 saying, go Giants. They're up 7-0 in this game, Lip. How huge would it be for the New York Giants to get off the field and only give up 3 to the Lions?
Oh, it's a very long game, and this offense for the Lions makes great adjustments. But like we've said, it's such a tough defense. I'm so interested to see how the safety that the Giants took a couple of drafts ago plays against the wide receiver the Lions took in Harvey Beckham. It's going to be exciting.
Send up the little cross screen to Cox on the outside, and great job by the Giants not getting fooled and able to bring him down short of the line to gain. It's a 4th and 4, and now they're going to be forced to settle for a 39-yard field goal attempt from the left hash. Ball is down, the kick is up, it is good. 7-3 your score, Lip, but what a job. That's a play. They love running that little, they got the running back in motion to the right side, throwing it back to the left, but the Giants' pursuit there was able to bring him down for only a couple yards, and now this is where the Giants don't want to give up these extra possessions. If they can keep scoring, they're ahead of the clock with that stop with the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, and I think that's another thing that we kind of haven't really talked about is even in the passing game, the lack of an extremely talented halfback. Right there, you see it hurt the Detroit Lions. They get the right play, they get him in space, has blocking, but he's not really able to make a guy miss or make a play because he's just kind of an average halfback. I think that's really a big element that they're missing in Detroit.
And now a 1st and 10 for the New York Giants. Play action on the counter. Great block off the play action, and a great job by Davis Webb just getting rid of that ball. A lot of early penetration on the blitz. A great pickup by Marlon Petway, and then he's able to rifle that out of bounds and make sure they don't take a loss on the play. Going to bring up a 2nd and 10.
Yeah, that was an exciting play because I thought they were going to get instant pressure in the sack. But Petway throwing his body in there, making sure Davis Webb doesn't get hit, and then Webb making the smart play to throw the ball away.
And they're going to get Gerard Davis with the neutral zone infraction. We've seen that a lot today, Lib. Maybe just that playoff atmosphere, the championship game, a chance to go to the Super Bowl. These guys are chomping at the bit to get after the quarterback.
Yeah, and in these big game situations, you have to test another team's discipline.
Marlon Petway gets 4 on the play, going to be just short of the 1st down marker. I don't know about you. Petway looked like he roamed. He kept trying to drift outside. If he cuts that hard inside, he's still running, I think. But he gets 4 on the play, facing a blitz, and now a huge 3rd and 1 for the New York Giants.
Yeah, I just want Petway to do the smart things, hold on to the football because it's going to be a long game and he's going to get the ball a lot.
Yeah, and it's now Davis Webb dropping back on 3rd and 1. They're trying to throw it. He's got a man underneath. It is complete. He's got room to the past the 50 to the 48-yard line. Davis Webb completing it, man coverage underneath, and these speedy Giants wide receivers able to get open on a little drag route of Sterling Shepard. 20 yards, 1st down Giants.
That's not really a defense that you see a lot from the Lions. Man covers 2 safeties in the middle and zone against a tight, close bunch situation, and the Giants hit it right at the perfect time. A huge game by Shepard.
OBJ not on the field right now. We know he's not 100%. We'll be interested to see how much New York uses them. Noble split out to the left. Stokes to the right. 1st and 10. Play action pass for Davis Webb. Looking out to Ben Stokes. Floated it a little too much, and Stokes took some punishment right there. It's going to bring up a 2nd and 10, a little hot route there, trying to get Ben Stokes deep down the field. The throw wasn't quite as bulleted as it needed to be.
Yeah, and I am not a fan of that with this team. You have to have somebody underneath at all times to come back to. Right there, that was a forced throw, and you can't have those passes in this game.
Davis Webb dropping back on 2nd and 10, throws it to the flat to Marlon Petway. As Petway shakes off one defender, he's going to get the 1st down and more to the 35-yard line. That one looked like it was going to go for a loss. He made one man miss, shook off the 2nd defender, gets 13 yards. Marlon Petway might be the most underrated running back in the league. We don't talk about him a whole lot, and he is so impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. The fullback right there on the Texas route was open. I thought that they missed their opportunity whenever they shot the ball to the outside. There was a defender, but Petway making moves, keeping them in this game. What a great drive so far by the Giants.
Yeah, they're on the 35-yard line. Line's showing that corner blitz from the left side. Nope, they hand it off to Marlon Petway. They faked me out with a fake play action. That's just called a handoff, folks. He gets 2 yards on the play. Going to bring him a 2nd and 8.
Petway. I like what I'm seeing. Why
don't people talk about him more, Lip? Is it because you think the Giants, New York, big market, you think people would talk about him? It just seems like, is it just the other running backs get more publicity and they're just flashier?
I think that it's just because until this season, he had not really gotten the ball as much as he did this season. And people just weren't really ready for him to have an explosion like this.
Well, they look like they're setting up a little slip screen to the left side. That was well covered, so he throws it back to the right side and can't complete it. Now they got a 3rd and 8 looking for Evan. Actually, I think he did catch it, and I think he got no gain on the play. It doesn't matter. Either way, it's 3rd and 8. And we've hit the end of the 1st quarter. Giants on top in this game, 7-3. An opportunity to put more points on the board, but they got a big 3rd and 8. Any question marks left for you about this Lions defense?
I think that they've done what they do. They let up yards. But they play great inside the red zone. It's just Petway made a great couple of plays inside the red zone for the Giants. I wouldn't really question anything about Detroit because this is typically what we see from them.
Yeah, 3rd and 8 now for Davis Webb. Shotgun, 3 wide receivers. He drops back to pass on 3rd down. Standing in the pocket, looking for anyone to get open. He's going to roll to the left side. He's looking deep down the field. He set him on a little streak, a little playmaker move, and he completes it. Ben Stokes breaks off his route, goes upfield, and goes down to the 1-yard line. He took a huge hit, and held onto the ball. Big players making big plays.
That was so risky. I thought the safety was going to have time to come underneath, but Davis Webb put it right on the money. Great play. can't believe he held onto that ball. What a play.
That looked like a play, just recipe for a drop, but they get a huge conversion. Now they're a yard out from going up 14-3 I formation. It's going to be a toss play to Marlon Petway, and walks into the end zone. Touchdown, Giants. What a job by this Giants offense, putting another score on the board, and go up 13-3 over the Detroit Lions.
As Petway gets the score, I'll give that to Davis Webb because he was reading the safety movement on the other side of the ball, made the right call. You saw that safety come out. You saw the wide side of the field. You know the Giants want to run the ball there. The safety moves out. Webb reads it, shifts it to the other side, makes the defense question which side that run's going to, and he makes the perfect call to the short side of the field, and Petway puts it away.
Well, and how about the play? I mean, again, you talk about the playmaker ability, Lip, the ability to send a receiver going one way or the other. Is that not just like the textbook way to do it? Rolls to the outside, no pressure coming. He reads the defense and sends the wide receiver upfield and puts a throw on the money.
Yeah, when quarterbacks and wide receivers have that communication, it's deadly. And it's even more deadly whenever you have no pressure because they have all day to work that. And with that communication, no pressure, you're going to see plays like that all day long. The Detroit Lions are going to have to get pressure on Davis Webb because he will throw bad passes when he's pressured.
Yeah, if there's a weakness of Davis Webb, it's when the pressure gets in his face, he has the propensity to let go some stinkers. As 2nd and 7, it's Matt Stafford dropping back. Blitz picked up nicely. Stafford still takes a hit. Montgomery has the catch. He's got some room on the left side. He's up past midfield, up to the 45-yard line, where he has taken down Montgomery. Probably the least talked about receiver on this team, Lip, but he has been a key part, filling in that role of what Harvey Beckham did for the team last year.
Yeah, out of Arizona State, another smaller receiver, 5'9", 187. The guy just doesn't really get talked about, but boy, does he make plays as he is in his first year with Detroit, over 1,000 yards and 4 big scores. That's definitely a receiver that gets no attention, but is so helpful to this offense.
1st and 10 for the Detroit Lions. 2 wide receivers, 2 tight ends. Harvey Beckham out to the left side. Montgomery out to the right. Rob Gronkowski and Kalen Cooper. 2 tight ends that are very effective for this Lions team. They are on the line as Matt Stafford drops back on 1st and 10. Looks underneath for Gronkowski.
What a read.
Yeah. What a hit by the New York Giants. It almost looked like that was just a freight train hitting a freight train. That was 2 big guys running into each other, an incomplete pass, bringing up a 2nd and 10.
That was such a great play by the corner on the outside that he jammed up that receiver, was able to take away anything down the field, anything outside, and then come down and make the hit on a big tight end and force an incompletion.
Play action pass for Matt Stafford. Rolling to the outside. He's got a man, and who else but it's Harvey Beckham, who's using his speed to get up inside the 10-yard line to the 8. You let Beckham come across the field. Man, how hard, Lip, man coverage on Harvey Beckham. Is there any way to make that work?
I don't believe it's possible because the guy has such great athletic ability, and his mental game in the route running is so much better than anybody else's coverage skills in this league.
And now 1st and goal for the Detroit Lions. Handoff over the left side to Wilson. He's got some room, and it's a touchdown for the Lions. The run game finding the end zone. A rarity for the Lions. They get it going as Wilson hits the edge, and the Lions respond to the New York Giants touchdown by putting a touchdown of their own on the board. They cut it back to 14-10. Lip, not surprising the Lip scored a touchdown. The Lions scored a touchdown. Not surprising that Harvey Beckham was a big part of that drive, but surprising that it was the run game getting it done.
Yeah, and that's another underrated element of this team. And even though they don't run the ball great, they have 2 great run blockers in Cooper and Gronkowski. And you saw the weakness of Reggie Ragland there on defense. He does not have the speed to get to the outside to cover, especially whenever there's great run blocking on the outside by tight ends. He just doesn't have the ability to get out there and cover, and we saw that right there.
3:55 to go here in the first half, folks. New York up 14-10. Another big drive for the Giants, looking to stay on top of this potent offense. I formation. It's going to be Marlon Petway. Oh, what a juke move to cut it back inside and get to the 23-yard line. It's a 4-yard gain. Going to bring up a 2nd and 6. Marlon Petway, great vision. Seeing the outside wasn't going to happen and cutting it back inside.
Yeah, the Detroit Lions did such a great job of taking away the outside, but Petway makes a move and is able to pick up yards. If that move is just a little bit quicker, that's a touchdown because he had blocking out in front of him.
Yeah, that big sweeping jump cut, that sort of slowed him down. If it's just a quick cut, he is off and running. 2nd and 6. Bunch formation, 3 to the right, 1 over to the left side. That is Noble. Marlon Petway in the backfield for Davis Webb under center here with 3:20 to go. He drops back to pass on 2nd and 6. It's a quick throw to the outside. It's caught. Oh, boy. Oh, Ben Stokes, stay in bounds, big fella, because you are still running. You're in the end zone. Instead, it's just a first down. It's a great play, but it could have been so much more.
I think he's just so athletically gifted that he just loses control of himself sometimes, because that's twice now that he's been out in space. He's just made too many moves, been too erratic, and cost them a huge gain. Right there, that is a touchdown if you just keep control of yourself.
1st and 10 for the New York Giants. Ty coming to motion from the left over to the right. Marlon Petway at halfback. He's going to get the ball. Try to go outside, but nice job by the Detroit Lions. Boy, it was set up. If he got outside, he was running, but early penetration, great blitz by KGH to get in the backfield. He's been a huge part of this Lions defense. When he went down with injury, Bombers said that might have been the biggest injury they had all season. Now 2nd and 11. For the New York Giants, shotgun formation, 3 wide receivers, 2 over to the right, 1 over to the left. For Davis Webb, they're running a little shovel option. He threw it right to Gerard Davis. Oh, that's just the Banana's getting too cute there, Lip. That's a bad play call. That's real bad, and it turned into bad news for the New York Giants.
I had a great analysis about Petway and Gordon that I do not get to discuss now because Davis Webb just did something stupid. I don't even know what to talk. I don't know what to talk about.
But real bad play. That's a real bad play call, guys. Like as that corner route, that's the Lip special I caught.
I've seen that. Hey, hi.
Bomber copying Lip, pulling a Sonny Weaver. Sorry. Doug Baldwin, 18 yards in that play.
At first I was like, why is he waiting? And then I thought, man, he's got it.
There it is. Figured it out.
It's a great play design. I will say that.
It's beautiful. It really is just a beautiful play. Now 1st and 10 for the Detroit Lions. But there are a lot of doors closing in my house. I might be getting mugged by the door shutter. I'm not really sure. Like, there might be 100 people outside my room. It's unclear. But we've hit the 2-minute warning. And I'm like, that's why I keep, I'm sure people watch it. Why does he keep, turning over? He's looking the wrong way, but there's just doors shutting all over the place. That turnover was a colossal mistake, Lip. Like, colossal mistake.
Yeah, and the sad thing is, if he pitched that sooner, I think that they had a nice chunk of yards, but Davis Webb just took too long to make that read.
They're running a little swing pass to Wilson. He's got some room. And Wilson's going to find the end zone for the 2nd time. Touchdown, Lions! They're back on top after a gift from Davis Webb and the New York Giants and the brilliant play calling of old Johnny Bananas. The shovel option turns into 6 for the Detroit Lions.
I don't even. I need to really.
That might be the worst play call. I mean, seriously, that might be the worst play call in the history of the NBL. Like, options. First of all, options in Madden, bad. Options in the NFL, bad. Shovel options, bad. Why? Like, it's a horrible call.
There is a time and a place and
the practice
personnel
field. Yeah,
for that.
No defense. Got it.
But in the NFC Championship, that is not the time.
Take the shovel option, throw it out of your playbook for the NFC Championship game. You're trying to get to a Super Bowl. As look, they hand it off to Petway. They don't try any pitches, no shovels, no pitches. Just hand the ball off, and he gets a first down to the 45-yard line.
The Giants, they really should have shoveled that to a Lions defender there, you know.
Would have been a real smart play if they tried the triple reverse shovel option on that play instead of just hand the ball off up the middle. Now 1st and 10 for the Giants, who are back in business while getting back to normal plays. They're trying to set up a screen pass, and look at that. That screen pass is nice. He waits for his block. What a block on the outside, and Petway gets to the 38-yard line. Gotta love the big blocks, Lip.
I can talk about what I was going to talk about earlier on that one run where it was an all-out blitz. Petway got stopped. He was not patient at all. He just sprinted into defenders. But right there, that previous play is what separates Petway from guys like Melvin Gordon. But right there, he showed a little flash of it. Instead of just sprinting past his lineman, he waits, picks up a first down. That's an excellent play by Petway right
Literally
there.
Stopped.
Give the man the ball.
Literally stopped and waited for it. As the handoff to Petway once again, he continues to eat 4 yards on the play. Whether it's the running game or the passing game, Marlon Petway has been the offense so far. They're going to try to hurry up and get some points on the board. Shotgun formation. Davis Webb dropping back on 2nd and 7. Looking, has a man. It is complete. It's Marlon Petway, who takes a big hit, but gets inside the 18-yard line. It's a first down for the New York Giants. They find themselves in the red zone once again, Lip. And if you are keeping track at home, no shovel options on this drive.
And that's how you do it. But you continue to give Petway the ball, and he's doing some phenomenal things. I don't like the hurry up and the timeout. I think that gives Detroit too much time if you do score.
Oh, hey, it's Marlon Petway with the ball. What a shot by Petway! Touchdown, Giants! He's unbelievable, folks. The most underrated running back in the NBL. He catches it, makes one cut, and whoop into the end zone. Touchdown, Giants!
Unbelievable. I was waiting for Webb to just get crushed. He was standing still all day. And then whenever he started his throwing motion, I absolutely saw an errant throw coming. But he hits Petway out of the backfield for a touchdown. I'm very impressed with these two right now.
Yeah, and Petway then takes the dot while Davis Webb is getting absolutely hammered in the backfield and cuts it upfield between 3 defenders and finds the end zone as the Giants answer the Detroit Lions. This is a point, folks, where we have seen teams fold. The Lions get 1 turnover. They're able to get in the end zone, and suddenly they're behind the clock again. And the Lions are going to run away with this one because teams don't respond. But the Giants with a beautiful response. Now with a minute 1 to go, let's see if the defense can keep the Lions out of the end zone, because this is where they can score. As he looks on the corner route, and Matt Stafford, a rare, very inaccurate throw, looking for the corner route there. It was a good call. Man coverage, right read, just the pass inaccurate.
Yeah, and before the start started, this is what I was talking about. You gave Detroit 3 timeouts, 1 minute left. But that's a great man defense. Good bad throw by Stafford there. It's tough.
Yeah, you don't see that too often. 2nd and 10. Oh, man.
Oh, my.
Hey, is that Reggie Ragland? Put your hands up.
He had read that right. He saw that Beckham was coming across the field, and he was taking steps back, but he just didn't make a play on the ball. If that was Ragland, I'm disappointed, because we've seen he can be a monster in zone coverage.
Just put your hands in the air, folks. Just put them in the air. It was a great read. I thought it was a pick for sure. It just didn't happen. As on 1st and 10, Matt Stafford dropping back to pass. Looks underneath it. Is complete to Rob Gronkowski. The New York Giants defense doing a real great job of reading when these underneath throws are coming and making sure, apart from 1 run by Montgomery, they're not getting outside.
Yeah, this is what we talked about in the pregame, that this defense had to be really tough today. And even though they let up 17 points, they're making the Detroit Lions work for it. And that's what you need to do.
2nd and 6 for the Lions. 2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers. Play action pass. Matt Stafford rolling out to the right side. Looking. Good defense. He sends a receiver upfield. He's got a man. It's Harvey Beckham who makes the possession catch at the 8-yard line. Bad recognition by the 2 deep safeties for the New York Giants. And Harvey Beckham catches it right in front of him. The Lions looking to put points on the board. Possibly a touchdown before the half.
A minute to the Detroit Lions is like 10 minutes to any other franchise. And this offense, it's just unbelievable what Harvey Beckham and Matt Stafford can do with so little time.
Well, here's all I'm saying. The Giants should recognize that playmaker play, because that's the one they did to Ben Stokes. They got burned by it the other ways. It's a toss play to Wilson. The blocking just never really got out there. There were 3 New York Giants who just outran the entire pulling blockers and able to bring down Wilson for a loss on the play. Going to bring up a 2nd and goal. 17 seconds left, Lip. A big time for the New York. This is where the New York Giants defense needs to stand strong. Yeah. That's all you got.
That's all I got, because it's
hard to watch at times. like this Lions offense just runs like a machine. 2nd and goal. Stafford driving back, rolling to the left side, looking. He's going to take off. Oh, and what a block on the outside. Did he get to the pylon? He did not, though. He is short at the 1-yard line. 3rd and goal. Stafford looked like he was going to get there after the block was thrown, but he's going to be just a half-yard short. And man up time for the New York Giants. 1 yard out for the Lions, as they're going to break. They're not even a yard out. Half-yard out. The New York Giants pinching that line. They know that something's coming up the middle. The Lions showing that quarterback sneak. Changing up the play now as they survey the New York Giants defense. 10 seconds to go. Where will they go? Will the Giants make a stop? It's Wilson. He got hit but broke the tackle and got in the end zone. The Lions respond. The Giants defense, the strength of this team, can't get a stop, and the Lions, unless something miraculous happens, which we've seen on NBL Live, will go into the half up 3.
Right there. The timeout by the Giants, whenever they had enough time, the hurry up, they was just rushing themselves for no reason. And like I said, you gave the Detroit Lions what feels like 10 minutes on the clock, and they were able to go down and punch it in. 6 runs, 2 rushing touchdowns for the Lions halfback. Just really well-played call.
Nice spin move, but it's going to get him an extra yard. 3 seconds to go. The Giants should just kneel this bad boy out, not worry about trying to get anything. 24-21, they're going to come out and just take a knee. Lions on top, Lip. If you're the Giants, on one hand, I think you got to feel good. On the other hand, you are looking at that page on the playbook that says shovel option and going, why did we call that? Because this team was really in control of the game. It's just a bad decision, a bad play call, and that's the only reason why the Lions are on top. And now it's real danger zone for the Giants because the Lions get the ball to start the second half.
Yeah, the Giants have done a lot of things well, but I'm worried that they've relied too much on the I guess, star power. Yeah. Am I going to say it? Star power of Petway. But if he's not a star and you continue to rely on that, you're going to find yourself in a big hole. But Davis Webb has made really good reads. They've played smart, so they are absolutely 100% still in this game.
Now it's up to the Giants' defense. It's on 1st and 10. Matt Stafford on a little counterplay with Wilson, and great job. This is where the Giants' strength is. That defensive line. Wilson has 2 touchdowns, but only 9 yards on the day. So a really nice job by the Giants' defense containing Wilson. Not a big running team as the Detroit Lions. They lose 4 on that play. Going to bring up a 2nd and 14.
And a lot of teams, 2nd and 14 would kind of be a killer, but when you have Harvey Beckham, he can do so much. Every route is open to this guy. It really does not bother this passing attack.
Yeah, now 2nd and 14. Pistol formation for Matt Stafford and the Detroit Lions. 3 wide receivers, 2 to the right, 1 over to the left side. So we appreciate everybody tuning into NBL Live, broadcast number 188 here on the network. And we appreciate everybody supporting the NBL network, our followers and subscribers here on Twitch and our subscribers over on YouTube. We appreciate each and every one of you as the Lions take a timeout, didn't like what they saw. Super Bowl broadcast tomorrow night, folks. 8:50 is when we will be on the air with the pregame show. 9:15 will be kickoff. We will have a Owners Hall of Fame induction. We will have, our Achievement and Media Excellence Award and our NBL Live Game of the Year announcements all tomorrow night, Lip. And after all that fanfare, we get to crown a champion of Season 29. And then, unbelievably, Lip, we're on to Season 30 here in the NBL.
Wow, I can't believe it, man. 30 seasons in the NBL. Like we've talked about before, there's so many guys that work so hard for this to be what it is. It's not just a couple guys. It's really, really deep league here, and you're going to see that tomorrow whenever we give out different awards, because a lot of people have their hands in all these productions, all the things that we do.
Absolutely. Play action pass from Matt Stafford on 2nd and 19 as he is running back, trying to stay alive, and he's looking for Harvey Beckham on the sideline. What a throw and what a catch! HBAT comes all the way across the field. It doesn't matter that the Giants saw it coming. It just didn't matter. A dot from Matt Stafford and a toe tap and catch from Harvey Beckham.
It was a great play call. At first, Harvey Beckham had his man beat, but then Stafford's able to buy time and really, we talked about 2nd and 14 wasn't a big deal to the Lions. Well, they went 2nd and 19, and they picked it up anyway.
They're just showing off at this point. 1st and 10, Montgomery coming in motion. Looks like they set up a little slip screen to the right side for Wilson, who has blocking out there. Look at 9 yards on the play up to the 42-yard line. He got a real generous spot getting the first down there, but apparently he got it, even though it looked to me like he was stopped a full yard short.
Yeah, and at first, I was actually surprised to see them throw that ball because the blitz actually looked like man coverage. I thought that screen was taken away, but as you know, the Detroit Lions, they would have had that underneath route anyway, but that's just a great play by Montgomery again.
Shotgun formation for Stafford. 1st and 10. Rush is coming. For the first time, the Giants defense gets to Matt Stafford. Cook with the sack. It's a loss of 9. It puts the Lions in a 2nd and 19. It's their bread and butter. It's their favorite down and distance.
Yeah, and right there, the Lions are looking for that post on the left side. Usually whenever you have cover 2, the safeties will separate. They'll take each guy on the outside, and that post will be wide open, but it was cover 3. There was a guy right there, and Lions were forced to take a sack.
The key for the Giants has got to be getting to Matt Stafford and putting some pressure in his face, as Stafford has all the time in the world. He's looking one-on-one on the outside to Harvey. Back up. Oh, makes a catch, but it's out of bounds. He thought he had it, but he dove for it and landed out of bounds. What a move by Beckham, but he can't make the play after one unbelievable catch on one sideline. Beckham can't do it on the other.
I can't believe the plays that this guy makes for being such a small receiver against big defenders. That was unbelievable. He was on the 2-yard line and he out-jumped that guy. Just could not get his body to come down in bounds.
3rd and 19 for the Detroit Lions. Needing a conversion here, up 3, 4:08 to go. For the Lions, empty backfield. It's Matt Stafford dropping back on 3rd down. Looking. He's taking a shot once again to Beckham. And Beckham can't make the play. 2 deep shots from Matt Stafford and 2 incompletions. And the Giants get the stop they need, forcing the Detroit Lions to punt the ball away.
That's 5'9" Harvey Beckham against 6-foot Landon Collins. And if you didn't know, Landon Collins is a pretty good safety.
He's not bad.
And we've seen Beckham's able to come up with these catches, and when he's not coming up with the catch, he's not allowing interceptions. It's incredible how good of an athlete this guy is.
Well, 3:56 to go. Detroit Lions up 24-21. Giants get the ball for the first time here. In the second half, first half, it was the Marlon Petway show for the Giants. Let's see if that continues. 2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers for the New York Giants. Man coming in motion on 1st and 10. It's going to be that PAFK quick. He's looked to the outside. It's caught by Ben Stokes, who shakes off a defender and gets the first down. Ben Stokes is surprisingly strong. I don't think he looks that imposing, but once the ball is in his hands and these defenders size him up, he's a hard guy to bring down.
Yeah, and it takes a lot of strength from your body and your hands to be able to hold on to that ball. I'm very impressed with that.
Look at Marlon Petway. 40 yards. He's so
find
impressive.
out if this guy's a true star. And like we said, after halftime adjustments, he comes out and runs off 8 yards right there. I'm thinking we're on the way to having an NBL star in Petway.
2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers once again for the Giants. Davis Webb under center with Marlon Petway in the backfield. He's going to drop back to pass on 2nd and 2. Rolls to the right side. Looking. He has a man. It's complete. It's Evan Ingram with another big catch to the 40-yard line. Nice job of Davis Webb changing the angles and slightly rolling out of the pocket. He finds Evan Ingram for the 3rd time today. The Giants back into enemy territory.
Absolutely a great job by Webb setting his feet there. As he was rolling, you get some of these quarterbacks rolling, they're going to make bad throws, but he was able to set his feet. That's a brilliant play by Webb and a great catch by Ingram.
Bunch formation, 3 to the right, 1 wide receiver over to the left. It's going to be Davis Webb dropping back to pass here on the 1st and 10. He finds a man. It is complete. It's Will Tye, the other tight end, with a catch at the 23-yard line. The rush was getting there, Lip, and what a great job by Davis Webb. Not rolling out, not running into one of those defenders, but stepping up and making an accurate throw to the tight end.
Yeah, once again there, Detroit going man coverage against those tight sets from the Giants. And Will Tye makes a play for the Giants.
Yeah, he's had some big games in a Giants uniform. He's been an NBL Live Player of the Game before. You check out the history of our NBL Live Player of the Games on our website, 365.maddenbomberleague.com. Ingram in motion. It's a handoff to Marlon Petway. Only a yard on the play. That play, it's the ace power. It's sort of a dead giveaway when that tight end goes in motion out of the bunch formation. You know what's coming, and the Lions were able to stop it.
Yeah, if I would like to talk with their linemen there, because 2 of them were 10 yards down the field as the Lions were swallowing Petway up.
Yeah. They were blocking the safety down the field. The ref in the back of the end zone was not making a tackle. He was thoroughly blocked. Once again, the Giants come out bunch formation, 3 to the right, 1 over to the left side. Marlon Petway in a halfback. His Webb's going to drop back to pass on 2nd and 9, and he finds Marlon Petway underneath, and it is complete up to the 16-yard line. Davis Webb, 14 of 18, 244, and a touchdown. Excuse me, that was Porter. That was Walker Porter. Walker Porter, what a name. Not Tyler Porter. It's his fancier brother, Walker. You're not in this. As Porter says,
Porter's doing a good job.
He's doing good. He's no running back, but he's doing good. 3rd and 3, a big 3rd down here. Davis Webb dropping back on 3rd down, steps up, steps up and he delivers it. Wow, he held that middle linebacker the entire time, looking like he was going to run, and he let the receiver come open and finds him to the 3-yard line. Davis Webb having a great game here in the NFC Championship.
That was as chess match as it gets, because I was screaming run, and this guy's just waiting and waiting and waiting, getting that linebacker to make a decision, and he makes a great throw. Unbelievable.
That was just such a heady play there, as KGH jumps a little bit, and that's going to give him an extra yard on the play. Minute 3 to go. Boy, I mean, Lip, a lot of people predicting the Giants to win this game because it's a sexy upset pick, and this Giants team has been good, but I didn't think the Giants offense would look this strategic. They just look like they're playing intelligently right now.
Yeah, they've done all the right things to put themselves in this game. Very impressed with the Giants.
That's a handoff as Petway trying to get their spin move. He's going to go down a yard short. Going to bring up a 2nd and goal for the New York Giants. You got to think, Lip, this is time to put 3 tight ends on the field, line them up, and let Petway do his work.
Yeah, worst case, you get stuffed twice. You still got a field goal tie game. But right now, I'm giving Petway the ball twice and watch him punch it in.
Yep, here we go. 37-yard line, ball on the 1. It's going to be the fullback trying to find some room, but the Lions' defensive line stopping him short of the goal line. Now 3rd and goal. Renew try to get the carry. They try to get cute and hand it to the fullback. But a fullback dive here inside the 2-lip, that's pretty expected.
Yeah, and I think that the Lions were really committed to the run there, obviously, as they had so many guys coming crashing down on that. The fullback had no chance. 3rd
and goal. It's going to be Petway who fights through the tackle and gets into the end zone. Marlon Petway, welcome to the big time. Touchdown Giants as he finds the end zone for the 3rd time today.
A star has been born. He is legit, and I am absolutely impressed with the game plan and the performance of Petway and these Giants.
I think I'm wrong. I think that's his 4th touchdown of the day. I'm pretty sure he's 3 rushing touchdowns and 1 through the air as the Giants 28-24. Petway, a star in the making, Lip. We were talking about, who had to have a big game and how important Marlon Petway was to this offense. Little did we know the Giants were going to have a huge party for Marlon Petway on NBL Live Broadcast 188.
Yeah, we talked about Webb. We talked about Stokes. We even mentioned Odell Beckham Jr.
Who we haven't seen.
Ingram. It's been Petway all day.
Yeah, Petway. The Petway is open. 1st and 10 for the Lions, looking to respond once again. Stafford dropping back, looks over the middle of the field for Gronkowski, who makes the catch in front of the safety. 4th quarter, Lip. It's 4th quarter time. Giants up 4. They played a hell of a game, but the Lions, they are still so dangerous. Right there, we saw what Rob Gronkowski brings to this team. He makes the catch in front of the safety, and he's so big at 6'7". It's hard to pry that ball out of his hands once he catches it.
Yeah, absolutely. The dude is a monster size-wise, and his ability to hold on to the ball, it's just such a nice safety blanket to have whenever you can go to that guy in these situations. Huge game, huge moment. Gronkowski holds on to the football.
Now 1st and 10 for the Lions. So we've hit the 4th quarter, 1 quarter to go to decide who will face the LA Chargers in the NBL Super Bowl for Season 29 tomorrow night, 8:50 Eastern is when we're starting out. As a quick out route to Harvey Beckham, makes a man miss. Can't make the 2nd man miss, though. He gets 13 on the play up to the 32-yard line, and Stafford goes to 300 yards once again. Matt Stafford is so good all the time. I think we just have stopped being wowed by him. We know what he's going to do. He's having yet another stellar game.
Yeah, these 300-yard games are pretty common for him. He knows what he's doing out there. And the Giants' defense, your offense has played so well. The defense needs to step up.
Yeah, 1st and 10 for the Lions. He's got 3 wide receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Rob Gronkowski on the right side of that formation as Stafford drops back. He finds Harvey Beckham, who's starting to have a big game. Let Beckham becoming a big target for Matt Stafford here as he gets down to the 8-yard line. The Lions in business once again as they break the huddle. Harvey Beckham, 6 catches, 178 yards for the Detroit Lions as they once again too tight at the formation. They toss it to Wilson on the outside. The blocking is good, but Wilson's going to be taken down at the 5-yard line. Great pursuit by the Giants defense, going to bring up a 2nd and goal.
And that's something that I'm extremely worried about, is this defense not making the big plays. I think they've only had 1 sack. They've allowed the lines to pick up 2nd and 19s, I think twice so far today.
Yep.
It's just tough. They need to make a play because we're getting late in this game now.
Yep, 2nd and goal now for the Lions. 2 tight ends, 1 wide receiver out to left side. I formation Wilson at the top of that I. Stafford, quick 3-step drop. Looking. Looks to the back of the end zone. It's a high pass to Beckham. And why not? HB18 finds the end zone. The Lions right back on top. 30-28. The linebacker was there but didn't make a play. Reggie Ragland, who was so big for this team in the divisional round, been really victimized today.
Yeah, and that's because the athleticism of this team, these wide receivers, and the tight ends is completely different than a lot of teams around the league. Maybe a couple other teams come into mind, but Reggie Ragland can't really keep up, and we're seeing that all over the place today.
All right, well, let's talk for a second psychologically playing the Detroit Lions, who go back on top 31-28 with 40-49 to go. Lip, does it start to wear on you as an opposing team when you're playing out of your mind? Petway has 4 touchdowns. Your offense has been great, but you can't seem to hold on to this lead, and now it's 4:49 to go. The Lions are back on top, and the pressure is back on you to get in the end zone.
You just have to stay focused, keep doing what you've been doing, and do not let that creep into your mind because you still are very much in this game.
Hand off to Marlon Petway. Look at him truck over defenders and get the first down to the 36-yard lines. Boy, Marlon Petway, he only has 66 yards on the ground, Lip, but it feels like he has so much more.
I was shocked when I saw that number. I felt like he had a 150-yard day so far, but every run has just been beautiful by this guy. I'm so impressed with him. I cannot believe what I'm seeing.
1st and 10. It's going to be Petway once again over the left side. He'll get up to the 39-yard line, give him 3 yards on the play. Folks, stick with us to the end of the game. We'll have our selection for our NBL Live Player of the Game for Broadcast 188. We'll have that Super Bowl set. We'll let you know what that's looking like. Again, 8:30 Eastern Time, 9:15 kickoff here on the NBL Network. Twitch.tv/NBL Network, also hosted by our friends over at EA on the EA Madden Twitch channel. We appreciate all those guys. John White and Krello helped get that set up, and everybody over at EA who supports the Madden Bomber League. 2nd and 7 for the Detroit Lions. For the Giants. 3 wide receivers out there for Davis Webb as he drops back to pass. Looking, and he looks to the left side, and it is complete, and it's a first down once again. The thing I've been impressed with Davis Webb is the fact that, and again, there's still game left, so knock on wood, but he has done a great job of taking what the defense gives him, and at times we've seen Davis Webb force the ball down the field. He hasn't really done that today.
Yeah, that's really the impressive thing because usually he will make one mistake down the field like that. The big thing is they've really attacked the outside short compared to trying to go into the middle intermediate, and that's really how you gain yards on the Detroit Lions. And then once you gain those yards, you just have to figure out how to punch it into the end zone. And when you have Petway just playing like a monster, that's a really good game plan for him.
Petway there, 3 yards on the play, going to bring up a 2nd and 7. Guy we haven't heard about a whole lot on the Lions defense. Gianni Slade in the middle of that defense. Should be a huge part of the run defense, but he hasn't been able to do a whole lot. Walker Porter into the game at halfback. Davis Webb's going to be passing it. He's going to throw a screen pass to Walker Porter, and tease Tabor with a big sack. You got to think of Marlon Petway, the way he's playing today. Yep. If he was out there, that one's still going. Porter made a bad decision trying to stay outside.
Yeah, he had the one blocker he needed against that one defender. Just too excited to make a play that was too big for the moment and just could not get it done.
See if Petway gets the carry here. 3-3-5 shown by the Detroit Lions. 3 wide receivers to the left side for the New York Giants as Davis Webb changing up the play. Here going to drop back to pass here on 3rd and 1. Webb steps up. Webb's going to take off. He's got some room. Look at Davis Webb, the heady decision. 14 yards to the 30-yard line. He stepped up. He waited, didn't find anyone, and made the play. Davis Webb having a great game, only overshadowed by Marlon Petway. NBL Live Broadcast 188, the NFC Championship game. Second half of our doubleheader. Who will face the undefeated LA Chargers? It's a counterplay for Petway. The blocking is good. Oh, Marlon cut inside, man. He waited too long, but still got 8 yards on the play. Going to bring up a 2nd and 2.
That was such a great play by Davis Webb, and then followed it right up with a great run by Petway. Once again, just a little bit more patience, and you have so much yardage left waiting for you. But you can't take anything away from him. Played a great game so far today. 2nd
and 2, Webb dropping back to pass. Looks underneath. It is complete up to the 15-yard line. 2:28 to go and counting in, folks. NBL rules, you can't kill the clock until under the 2-minute warning, so you won't see that chew clock on here in the late stages of the game until we hit under that 2-minute warning. So if there's any thought of the Giants just intentionally killing it to the 2-minute warning, they're going to have to run one more play here before that 2-minute warning. I expect to see a steady dose of Marlon Petway here with 2:08 to go, as it's going to be handoff to Petway, who goes right up the middle, gets to the 14-yard line, and that's going to take us to the 2-minute warning lip. Giants down 3.
They're in such a difficult position right now.
I don't even know what to do here. Like, what?
Yeah.
The fear of giving the ball back to the Lions with 2 timeouts.
Yeah. On that side of the 2-minute warning with a first down, it's so tough because now if you score right now, they have so much time.
Yeah.
If you try to milk it too much, you might not score. It's so tough.
It's a toss play to Petway. He's got one man to beat. That's Callaway. He's taken down to the 9-yard line. No timeout taken by the Lions. Remember, the Lions had to take a timeout early in the second half. That could come back if the New York Giants play this smart. It looks like, though, they're going to come out and try to run the play quickly and convert this 3rd down. They come out 3 wide receivers. To the right, 1 over to the left. Marlon Petway in at halfback. Evan Ingram on the right side of that line. Let's see what the Giants decided to do. Davis Webb. A Super Bowl berth on the line. Clock running. They're using as much time as they can. Webb drops back to pass on 3rd and 4. Steps up. Rolls. He's going to take the first down and slide down at the 3-yard line. What a heady play by Davis Webb. Lip. A huge first down. The young quarterback making plays.
He had a beautiful slant open. The first route inside took away the linebacker, and then the wide receiver slowly came in on a slant. I thought he was going to hit it quick. He was looking somewhere else, and then didn't panic. Didn't throw a bad pass, takes what the defense gives them, and they picked up the first down, which was huge. Take the time away from the Detroit Lions.
1st and goal, 56 seconds and counting. Stokes coming most. This could be, oh man, they're going to hand it off to Petway over the left side, and he has stood up. The Lions defense taking a timeout. The Lions want the ball back. They use their 2nd timeout of the half, 4-yard line, 50 seconds to go. Lip. Is there any question that Marlon Petway gets the ball 3 times here? Do you ponder throwing the ball, risking that turnover, or do you just let your big boy eat?
I let Petway try to punch this in because you don't know what's going to happen. A drop pass could end up a tip interception. You don't know. It could be a good read, turn into a bad pick. Who knows?
Handoff to Petway. Up the middle! He finds the... No! He's down at the 1!
He was in.
There have been some questionable spots today, folks. There have been some questionable spots. He's apparently down at the half-yard line. Detroit used their last timeout. The Giants are lining up 3 tight ends. It's a sneak for Webb. He didn't get in there. Now he got it. All right, they gave him to him the 2nd play.
I think that Petway was in, and then Webb just kind of flopped on the ground, and I don't know, but 43 seconds.
That's a lot of time.
Timeouts. That's probably 6 minutes. To the Detroit
6, 7 minutes. Trying to put this is a big extra point that the Giants need to convert here to put them up 4. As the ball is down, the kick is up, and it is good. And the New York Giants, with 43 seconds left, they take a 4-point lead. But boy, oh boy, Lip, it's danger zone because old Matty Stafford and Harvey Beckham are getting the ball back. They might not have any timeouts, but that's no problem for how potent this offense is.
Yeah, absolutely. He took over the game that last drive. Harvey Beckham did. I'm looking forward again. But the thing is, if you focus on him way too much, Montgomery, Gronk, Cupper, these guys, they have talent everywhere. So the whole team is up for the pass right now.
43 seconds to go, folks. The Detroit Lions going to go to work. This is where they are at their best. Matt Stafford in the shotgun. Look for Rob Gronkowski wide right. 3 wide receivers to the left. Ball on the 25-yard line. Play action pass from Matt Stafford. Looking deep down the middle of the field for Doug Baldwin, who makes a big catch at the 47-yard line. Clock is running, but Stafford gets a big chunk of it there to the veteran Doug Baldwin.
Yeah, that's a huge veteran catch right there. We talked about him dropping one earlier, but he makes a great play right there.
First and 10, shotgun formation for Stafford. He drops back. Only a 4-man rush from the New York Giants. He's looking for somebody open. He's going to toss it underneath to Wilson, who's got to get out of bounds, and he does. Don't get those extra yards. 20 seconds to go, ball on the 46-yard line. Stafford doing what he can. Lip, do you think, if you're the New York Giants, do you ponder rushing more than 3 or 4? It seems like when you only rush 3 or 4, that's when Matt Stafford can do the most damage.
It's tough. I honestly don't know because of the talent on this team. I think that you just have to protect the sideline, keep them in bounds, and you'll be okay. It doesn't matter where it's at. 3
wide receivers to the left. Rob Gronkowski on the right side. They love splitting them out here in late-game situations. 2nd and 9 for the Detroit Lions. 5-man rush. They do bring a blitz. Here comes the rushers. It's a deep shot to Beckham. Oh, and a defensive play made by Landon Collins. What a job in the back of that defense. Now 3rd and 9, 13 seconds to go. Lions running out of time. They're going to need to get a play to the sidelines if they're not just going to want to heave it up, Lip, because they can't afford to get tackled inbounds.
The way that Harvey Beckham has played, I think you just repeat that a couple more times. You probably have 2 shots like that if you're lucky. Just the way he has absolutely balled out today, I think he can make those catches, and that's going to be how you win this game. I just don't see it happening any other way.
Well, here we go. 3rd and 9, 13 seconds to go, folks. A spot in the Super Bowl on the line. 3 wide receivers over to the left side. Nobody on the right side. It's Kalen Cupper down to the line as he's shown that he's going to be blocking on this play. 3rd and 9. The rush comes. It's picked up. Matt Stafford, 8 seconds. Looking deep down the middle of the field for Harvey Beckham, and it's incomplete. It's 4th down. It's going to be a heave to the end zone. Lip, 1 play to decide who will play the undefeated LA Chargers in the Season 29 Super Bowl.
A long time ago in Season 14 Super Bowl, the Lions caught the ball at like the 8-yard line, didn't have enough time. It almost repeated itself right there. This ball has to be in the end zone because this is the last play of the game.
Giants dropping back 3 on the 15-yard line. It's Stafford dropping back. This is for your ball game, folks. Is there a miracle in Detroit? It's through the back of the end zone. The New York Giants win and will represent the NFC in the Super Bowl, taking on the LA Chargers. An upset here in Detroit, and what a game by Marlon Petway and the New York Giants.
Marlon Petway was, we talked about it. A star needed to be born today, and it was born. He just took this game over. But it's so weird that he absolutely played so great because Davis Webb also played phenomenal. He didn't make any mistakes other than the weird shovel thing.
We don't want to talk about that one.
Played such a great game. I'm just so impressed with both of those players tonight.
What a finish here in Detroit. The New York Giants, a late touchdown, and the defense makes the stop of their young season to get to the Super Bowl to face off against the LA Chargers. We'll talk about that in a second, Lip. NBL Live Player of the Game, broadcast 188, blah, 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 Marlon Petway, what a game he had. 4 touchdowns, 3 on the ground, 1 through the air. He had 4 catches, he had 90 yards on the ground, and he was the reason the New York Giants did what they did today.
Yeah, 90 yards on the ground and 64 through the air. Like you said, those 4 touchdowns were absolutely... that was what we needed. They needed to have that running back play in a huge way, and he absolutely stepped up, and the Giants are on to the Super Bowl. I am so impressed with this guy that not a lot of people talked about, but boy, we're going to be talking about him now.
Once again, Marlon Petway, of the most deserved player of the game I think we've ever had here on NBL Live. He's your player of the game for broadcast 188. You can check out the history of all of our player of the games on our website, 365.maddenbomberleague.com. I'm looking at this this box score. That second quarter was 27 points and 27 points for the Giants, 14 for the Lions in just the second quarter. We play 6-minute quarters here, Lip, and we had a combined 41 points in the second quarter.
Yeah,
what a game.
The first quarter was great because they were just kind of feeling each other out. The Giants actually came out pretty, tough. A lot tougher than people probably expected. And then they just exploded in the second quarter, and I don't think the Lions were quite ready for that because that took me by surprise. And then we see it on the field. Just an absolute perfect game on both sides of the ball by the Giants.
Put up the right one. There you go, folks. That one was my fault. I downloaded the wrong one. Hey, there's the actual bracket right there. Hey, that one actually has the New York Giants, by the way, winning that that divisional round game.
Not the Seahawks.
It wasn't the Seahawks. And that's huge because the Giants make it to the Super Bowl to face off against the LA Chargers. And again, folks, as we look at the carnage that was this playoff, so many great teams going down in this season, but it ends up Chargers and Giants in the Super Bowl.
This was such a great playoffs to have.
Think about the number of great games we had. I mean, again, we talked about broadcasting every game, Lip, and what that would bring to the viewership. And we talked about how there are so many great games we don't get on NBL Live that in past seasons.
Absolutely.
I just think this season, no joke, even if it wasn't all broadcasted, I think we had the best playoff games we have ever seen. And that includes the fact that it started off with the Giants winning a game 35-3, but so many close games down to the wire. What a playoff season here in the NBL.
Yeah, other than maybe the Giants, 49ers, and the Patriots and the Browns, every game was unbelievable. It was so entertaining, and that's what we talked about whenever we wanted to bring this to our viewers, because there's so many games that are so close. A lot of games come down to these last couple plays, the last drive, and it's just so exciting to see and be a part of. I'm really excited and happy that we were able to put this together.
I would, correct me if you think I'm wrong, I would guess we probably had 3 Game of the Year candidates in the playoffs alone, and that doesn't count our NBL Live season.
Yeah, absolutely. We had a lot of great games on NBL Live during the regular season, but You're right. We had at least 3 just incredibly entertaining down to the last play. I think last night we had a game come down to the last play. Tonight we had a game come down to the last play. Yep. That is exactly what we envisioned whenever this was created, and it's so exciting to see all these games happen like that.
Just think about this, okay? We had this Lions-Giants game. Phenomenal game. Only to be topped by the Chargers and Steelers game that was an absolutely bonkers down to the wire. But let's not forget in the wildcard game, we had the New England Patriots winning with 1 second left on a wildcat play from the 60-yard line.
Yeah, I had no idea what was going on because we thought that it was just tied. They were heading overtime. Everything was good. And then they run that play, and it just totally broke the playoffs completely wide open and set it up for all these great games. And we have one heck of a matchup for our Super Bowl this year.
Yeah, and let's talk just for a brief moment before we get out of here. A reminder, it's tomorrow night. And again, a big shout out to our friends over at EA hosting us tomorrow night. Saturday the 24th. We're looking at less than 24 hours away. We will have our Season 29 Super Bowl on NBL Live. Pre-game show starting at 8:50, twitch.tv/NBL Network. Super Bowl kickoff at 9:15, Lip, and let's talk about that matchup. The LA Chargers going for history, trying to be the first team to go undefeated and win an NBL Super Bowl, and you go maybe... It's serendipitous. It's been an unbelievable year for the Chargers. They continue to win. They continue to be that team of destiny. And against anybody else, I think I'd be leaning heavily towards the Chargers. But there's something about this Giants team that continues to make big plays in the playoffs that just sets up for an unbelievable ground and pound matchup between the Chargers and the Giants tomorrow night.
Yeah, and the thing is, I like I said, the curse is a real thing. I've said this probably 3 times. You're probably tired of hearing me saying it. The curse is a real thing. So I would definitely lean towards the Giants, but it's the way that we've seen, like I said, we saw Carson Wentz play a perfect game tonight. And we saw Davis Webb play what for him is a perfect game.
Yep.
And then you have Petway breaking out like this. Boy, I honestly don't know. If you asked me right now to make a pick, I probably couldn't, because these teams just match up so uniquely that it's going to make such a good game that I'm so excited for.
It should be fantastic, folks. You're not going to want to miss that. And a reminder to all of our subscribers here on Twitch, we'll be giving away that NBL gift pack tomorrow night as well. We'll have a pregame show that includes an announcement of our Owners Hall of Fame inductee, as well as our Achievement in Media Excellence and Game of the Year announcement, all tomorrow night. It's a huge pregame show. It's a huge game. It's going to be a great matchup. 8:15 Eastern is pregame show. 9:15 Eastern Super Bowl kickoff. Hit that subscribe button so you know each and every time we go live. Hit that follow button. Hit whatever button you can. Tell your friends it's going to be a great show. Lip, final bow, 2 absolutely phenomenal. The best championship game weekend I think we've ever had. We've had some great games, but this seems like both games felt big. Both teams had big performances. Who won, and both teams who lost, I feel like in any other year, they would be in the Super Bowl, how good these performances were.
Yeah, and the Browns played a good game. They had a couple plays. They actually played a great game other than their mental mistakes. And then obviously the Lions-Giants, such a great game. I think that both of these games were such a great setup for what we're going to see in the Super Bowl. But like you said, the other two teams that lost tonight, any other year, they are
tip of the cap to them.
Yeah, there's nothing to be upset about. Those were great games. Great, calls, great games, great execution. Just the other team is just a little bit better, but all four teams, a lot to be very proud about.
Oh yeah, big congratulations to both the Browns and the Lions for a phenomenal year, and a tip of the cap and a congratulations to the two teams who'll be facing off tomorrow night right here, 8:50 Eastern is when we get it started. We're going to get out of here. For my co-host, the co-commish Lip himself, I'm OSU. Once again, your Super Bowl tomorrow night here on twitch.tv/NBL Network. The undefeated Chargers and the New York Giants. They're going to be going head-to-head. Only one place, only right here on NBL Live.